happening, but there's certain counties, Jeff, that 1 out of 5 votes that are cast in an election are absentee ballots. I mean, something's wrong with that when the state average is around 3.5%, and that one's closer to 20. Something's wrong with that. So I'm wanting to fix that.
I'll be back with more Alabama stories after this.
Covenant Rescue Group seeks to directly support organizations and agencies that are fighting the global battle against human trafficking. They do this through funding, procuring, and advocating. You can go to covenantrescue.org for further details. They need your donations, guys. Hop on and donate.
And Governor Ivey will be delivering her yearly State of the State address this coming February 6th. Ivey will reveal her legislative priorities, and she maintains that high-quality education is still at the top. The governor's speech will begin at 6 p.m. I'm Andrea Tice.
For more news affecting Alabamians, go to 1819news.com. And while you're there, subscribe to the daily newsletter.
Hi, this is Sky Mosley for your hometown conservative newspaper, the Alabama Gazette. Published in beautiful downtown Montgomery, serving the river region and central Alabama proper for over 24 years, always under the banner of God, family, and country. You can find the Gazette at many fine business establishments throughout the area and an excellent value for your advertising dollar. The Gazette provides you with a ready-made audience that shares your values, beliefs, and principles. Give them a call, 356-6700. Advertising with the Alabama Gazette is surprisingly affordable and extremely effective. 356-6700, the Alabama Gazette. Honest, informative, trustworthy, your conservative alternative newspaper. Real local news from real local people. The Alabama Gazette, they are most worthy of your support. Pro-life, pro-family, pro-America. 356-6700, give them a call. The Alabama Gazette, the people's paper.
Hi there, I'm Madeline Cannon with Alabama Home Mortgage. Getting pre-approved is the first step towards home ownership. People are often scared or nervous about taking that first step, but I'll tell you, it's nothing to be scared of. At Alabama Home Mortgage, we will take the first step and every step along the way with you. Call us at 567-4223. We will gather the information needed to tell you exactly what you qualify for. After a call to Alabama Home Mortgage, you will know what price point to shop for, what down payment is required, if any, and what your monthly mortgage payment will look like. We take all the guessing out of it. Then, when you find the house you want to make your home, you are ready to make an offer. Along with your offer, you will submit your Alabama Home Mortgage pre-approval letter. This shows sellers that you've already taken the steps necessary to ensure that you qualify to purchase their home. Wait no longer. It's time to take that first step together. Call me at 567-4223 or start the process online at myalabamahomemortgage.com.
That's Alabama Home Mortgage because, folks, there is a difference in mortgage companies. NMLS 1586-36-8, Equal Housing Lender.
The views and opinions of the following program are solely those of the host and other contributors. These do not necessarily represent those of Liberty Acquisitions 825, Blue Water Broadcasting, its management, staff, or any advertisers. It's time for Montgomery's conversational radio show. It's News and Views on News Talk 93.1 FM. To join the conversation, call 272-9228.
Government is not the solution to our problem. Government is the problem.
Can you get a cough, please?
I'm also very much of a germaphobe, by the way.
We hold these truths to be self-evident. All men and women created by God. You know the thing.
You know, they used to say Abraham Lincoln got the worst press. I said, there's no way he got worse than me.
Thank you, Dr. Pepper, and thank you, Chancellor, or Dr. Paper, and thank you, Chancellor.
After damning politicians uphill and down dale for many years as rogues, vagabonds, frauds, and scoundrels, I sometimes suspected, like everyone else, I often expect too much of them.
What the hell are we doing here?
We are behaving the way a superpower ought to behave.
Well, our behavior is to do some crappy results. This is how you conduct yourself in a democracy.
Joey Clark.
Welcome into News and Views in the afternoon. I'm your host, Joey Clark. And as is tradition to kick off the show, always look forward to my conversation with the one, the only Judge Andrew Napolitano. Judge, how are you today, kind sir?
I'm well, Joey. Even better that we're now on air together. How are you, my man?
I'm surviving. Life personally is pretty great. And, I constantly go through this where if it was just me in my life, I'm fantastic. And then I read the news headlines in the morning.
Well, that's enough to depress anybody.
Oh, absolutely. And, for a time when I was really bad, I'd start to think, just nuke it all. Like, we don't deserve this. But I need to stop joking about that because, man, this larger war that Joe Biden won seems to be on. Apparently, it came out today that they have made a decision on how they're going to strike back against these militias. Where do you think this is going?
I think it's going to go to World War III or something resembling World War III. If the president listens to the advice of Senator Graham and attacks Tehran directly, I mean, Iran and Russia have agreed to, they haven't yet signed it, but they have agreed to a mutual defense pact.
Oof.
Iran has more than enough missiles to destroy the state of Israel. The United States does not have the naval or foot soldier power to introduce a meaningful force there. I mean, he really will be asking for a beating unless he wants to start a major war and run for re-election as a wartime president, which a lot of us have suspected he has wanted to do. Certainly the neocons around him, who have probably given up on Ukraine, though they won't admit it publicly, now see this as a more realistic opportunity to confront Russia more directly and to have some sort of a mantle of moral rectitude because they're with Israel, although that moral rectitude was destroyed by the Israeli efforts at genocide and the International Court of Justice calling them out for it.
And then you see the response. I guess there are a lot of folks claiming there are 6,000 family members, 6,000 employees, of the United Nations with family members who are terrorists. And I have trouble making heads or tails. I mean, what is the force of the International Court of Justice?
It's just a moral suasion because its rulings can only be, and it's an arm of the UN. So if somebody says, well, we didn't sign on to that court, they're confusing it with the International Criminal Court, which we did not sign on to. Listen to the company we're with on that court: China, Russia, Iran, North Korea, and the United States. Everybody else is signed on to that. That's the one with real teeth, and it can prosecute people. It can't execute them, but it can lock them up. This court has to go to the Security Council, on which the U.S. has a veto. So the answer to your question really is its power is only one of moral suasion. Not only have the Israelis lost the PR war, but they're losing it even worse now after what the court did. You wouldn't know that in the United States, but all over Europe, the Middle East, and the Far East, the decision of that court continues to be front page, top of the fold.
Exactly right. And, and I think it was an interview I saw between a guy named Destiny and Ben Shapiro. They were debating, but both Destiny and Shapiro agreed there were internal deliberations within the Israeli government. Some of them within that war cabinet wanted to strike Hezbollah first. So now it's kind of the worst of both worlds in the sense that you have what you have in Gaza and you haven't accomplished the mission. You have the world turned against you, and now you still have, say, Hezbollah with a pretty big arsenal right to your north. And I guess the United States is the only backer of Israel right now.
The United States is the only backer of Israel. Great Britain has backed Israel verbally, but as far as we know, not with any cash or ammunition. The Israelis cannot fight two wars. They know that. They're losing in Gaza. They know that. But they committed an unspeakable war crime earlier today by having their agents dress up as doctors and invade a hospital in the West Bank, not an area that has attacked them, and assassinate 3 patients in their hospital beds. This has not happened, as far as I know, in the history of the modern world.
Now, I want to go back a second. Let's focus on somebody like Lindsey Graham. And, you know, I could play the game of, say I was president and I was still faithful to first principles. I think principles you and I share, Judge. And I still would talk to Lindsey behind the scenes. I'd be, Lindsey, be the bulldog you've always been. I'm going to keep you on a leash, but you keep making those threatening noises and barking noises. Do you think Lindsey's playing a part, or does he really believe this stuff he's saying? I know it's tough to examine what's inside his head necessarily, but what do you think?
There was a time when I was pretty close to him when he was one of the House managers. You were a baby, maybe not even born yet. He was one of the House managers of the Bill Clinton impeachment, along with Joe Scarborough, now famous or infamous, however you want to look at him, at MSNBC. They were both conservative Republican House members. And I had at the time a lot of respect for Senator Graham. I think he is very serious, either because that's what he thinks the people of South Carolina want him to say, and he's a representative of South Carolina, or because he honestly believes that this is the way to bring about world peace. He is often mocked for his claim to have military experience, but it's as a lawyer and as a judge. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but that's not the same type of military experience we're talking about. I can't really get deep into his head, but I'll take him at his word that this is what he really thinks we should do. He's a quintessential leader of the neocons. Tom Cotton is not far behind. Josh Hawley is not far behind either. These are three members of the Senate who I believe Cotton is militarily experienced. I don't know about Hawley, who want us to fight these major wars. According to Scott Ritter, according to Colonel McGregor, Lieutenant Colonel Kwiatkowski, my military people, we do not have the wherewithal to fight wars. We don't even have the equipment to fight a significant war any longer. Where did it go? Ukraine.
And yet, they're still, I think it's fake. It's sort of a political smokescreen. But they're still having deliberations within the Senate about this big deal about border security, money to Israel, and then money to Ukraine. The biggest ticket item of those three is still money to Ukraine. I think it's estimated something like $60 billion.
You're right.
I mean, that hasn't been on front page headlines as much, the Ukrainian war, but that seems to be just kind of stuck. Like the new technology seems to have created a World War I type situation.
Well, that it's 61 billion won't actually be cash. It will be military equipment from somewhere, either whatever we've stored in Poland or whatever we've stored over here. It's not new stuff. The Raytheons of the world are going 24/7 to replace what we've already sent there. But Ukraine's problem is so serious, Joey. They need manpower.
All right.
General Zaluzhny, who's the commander-in-chief of the military, said, I need another 500,000 troops. He lost 500,000 troops, and 500,000 young Ukrainian men now dead. There was a time when I could say it's 500,000 dead or wounded. It's not 500,000 dead.
Right.
They don't have any place to get another 500,000 troops. They are impressing people off the streets age 16 to 70, including pregnant women. That's how desperate they are. How much longer can this go on? Not much.
Well, and it just how serious everything is in the world. And yet some of the top news here in the United States, as the rest of the world is talking about, war and this, I think, change of the world order, is the fallout, for better or for worse, from the E. Jean Carroll lawsuits against Trump. I'll just admit, Judge, that when I saw a clip of E. Jean Carroll on with Anderson Cooper,
it was very difficult to watch, Joe.
Exactly, and it made me go, this woman, for I don't know what's going on with her, but something is off here.
Yeah.
So
the jury that just awarded $83 million did not see that, because that is another issue. The prior jury saw it. The jury that awarded her $5 million saw that when the defense cross-examined her, and she was able to explain it away, that she was a gossip columnist giving advice on personal intimacy, and it was necessary for her to come off that way in order to draw people to her readership. Well, look, I don't know if that's true, but the jury bought it.
Well,
On the last trial, the issue of liability was not in the case, meaning the court had already decided that whatever Trump said, both in the White House and after he left, about this woman was, as a matter of law, defamatory. So the only issue before them was how much. So they awarded, I think, $5 million for one defamatory statement, $11 million for another defamatory statement, and then $65 million in punitive damages. This is an issue for him because in the federal system, in order to file an appeal, you got to deposit those funds with the court, or you have to purchase an insurance policy that names the court as the beneficiary and pledge assets worth that much to the insurance company. And he's got another big judgment that's going to be coming his way, which will probably be in the hundreds of millions. And that's from the civil fraud trial in Lower Manhattan. The judge promised a decision by January 31st, which is tomorrow.
Heck, yeah, man. You know, I don't know if you saw the Rachel Maddow clip from last night where E.G. Carroll joined Maddow with two of her lawyers on either side of her. And at one point, she's gleefully talking about, hey, Rachel, you want to go on a shopping spree? Do you want a penthouse? And you can see the lawyers start to nervously laugh. She's joking. She's joking. I mean, it looks really bad to me. It looks more like, oh, we got the big orange Mussolini guy, as opposed to I'm a victim of rape and I have justice now.
Your read on this is one I think shared with a lot of people. I will also tell you that he did not have, I hate to say this, it's going to cause problems, but I have to. He did not have the best legal counsel. Sometimes he does. He did in the first trial. Joe Tacopina is one of the best trial lawyers in New York City. The young woman he had this past time was woefully outclassed by plaintiff's counsel. Now, having said that, she has a client she can't control. So if you can't say to your client, sit there and don't say anything, and he disobeys you and storms out while the other side is giving their closing argument, that sends a terrible message to the jury. Now, you know that I know him, and I have known him for nearly 40 years. You can't really tell him anything.
Right. Well, and by the way, I was, I think, 8, 9 years old when the whole impeachment of Clinton. But whether it's in the mid-'90s or what we're happening right now, I think...
it's not just about sex.
Thank you for that, Lindsay. I appreciate that. It's like these old refrains.
Is he there in the green room ready to come on right after I am?
Stop playing with it.
Okay. Sorry, Lindsay. Sorry, sir.
It is a very unique voice.
Indeed. And, you know, and I wanted to spend the lion's share of our interview, I think, on the more serious topics worldwide, but our politics today, have you ever seen it like that? Both parties, the folks around Trump, the folks around Biden, it seems like the wheels are falling off. And while serious stuff is in fact happening, we're arguing over stuff that's more like a national Rorschach test. See what you want to see.
Yeah, these are definitely difficult times. Again, you were too young or weren't born. I'm sure you weren't born in the Vietnam War era, which was far more divisive than now because there was a draft involved. You know, LBJ sent 500,000 young men to South Vietnam, more than 10% of whom, 52,000, returned in body bags. So the divisiveness in that era was far worse than now. But to his credit, LBJ did not run in 1968, and it was not Nixon versus LBJ. It was Nixon versus his vice president, Hubert Humphrey. It was acerbic, but not nearly as acerbic as it would have been had LBJ stayed in the race. I still think Biden's not going to run, Joey. And I know you don't bring me on to do politics, and I'm thankful for that, but I still think Democratic leadership will go to him and say, Joe, you're going to bring us over a cliff. Not only will Trump win, he'll have huge majorities in the Congress. He can do whatever he wants. You have to step aside. Question will be, to whom?
And, you know, it's I think maybe an argument in our favor, our camp, when you see a president like Biden, and I think it could apply to Trump for a lot on the left, it really, that's the president who's leading us into this massive war in the Middle East, who's leading us against the right. Really, this guy is the one. It kind of betrays the idea of the president's in charge. I think anybody with a brain and eyes and ears can tell it's Blinken or it's somebody else up there who's maybe advising but really running the show.
No question about it. I mean, I've said this before as somewhat of a joke, but I believe it's true. I don't think Joe Biden could pass a driver's ed test. And when Trump mocks him and says the guy can't put two sentences together, that is almost literally true. It's very sad. You know, I know him also. We taught on the law school faculty together. You know, that was 40 years ago. It was a different Joe Biden and a different me. Right. But the Joe Biden that I have known, even in his years as vice president, and my contacts with him through Fox, was far more astute, far more cognitively sound than the one that is the president of the United States today.
Yeah, strange times indeed, but I think we'll survive it as a nation, hopefully. And I always appreciate your time, Judge. If folks want to check out your podcast, Judging Freedom, how can they do so, and who do you have on this week?
I have my three military people, one of whom everybody's heard of, Matt Ho, Karen Kwiatkowski, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock Eastern, 4:30 Eastern, Scott Ritter, on this very serious problem of Russia involved in any wider war in the Middle East. Russia treating Iran as a protectorate. That's the subject with Scott.
And by the way, this week in my op-ed here for the state publication, I quote both you and Douglas McGregor. It's, you know, sometimes I have writer's block. I need to be in good company, and it'll help me up my game.
You're very generous.
Well, I appreciate you as always, Judge. Until next week, God bless, sir. Thank you.
Right back at you, Joey. All the best.
Again, folks, that's Judge Andrew Napolitano. Always great having him on the program. Coming up, we have another guest joining us over the stream. And again, you can watch that at Joey Clark Live on YouTube. Joey Clark Live on YouTube or on Facebook on the Book of Faces or the X platform. But a gentleman by the name of John Milhiser should be joining us here in about 10 shopping minutes. He started up with a few others a brand new nonprofit that is looking to, well, advocate against the so-called Soros DAs. These DAs that have taken it upon themselves not to prosecute certain types of crime across the nation, that have become essentially these activist DAs. And so Mr. Milhiser is going to join us to talk about, well, their efforts on how to push back against the Soros DAs. You don't want to miss it. More news and views in the afternoon after this.
Want to carry News Talk in your pocket? Download the News Talk 93.1 app from the App Store. Available on iPhone and Android. Never miss a moment. Download now.
Hey, Montgomery drivers, why aren't you driving a new Toyota yet? Drive the Best for Less event at Toyota of Montgomery, where we make it easy to drive the best, safest, and most reliable cars on the road. Come in today and drive the best, like the new 2024 Toyota Camry LE. Now only $299 a month. Or take over the road in the best-selling new 2024 RAV4 LE. It's only $349 a month. And Toyota of Montgomery makes it easy to upgrade your old vehicle by giving you more for your trade. So what are you waiting on, Montgomery? Drive the best for less before these offers end on January 31st at Toyota Montgomery today. Online at toyotamontgomery.com. Part of the Sutherland Automotive Group.
Camry MSRP $30,958. RAV4 MSRP $28,214. 12,000 miles per year for 39-month leases with $3,638 due signing. Zero security deposit with approved credit plus tax, tag, title, and $995 doc fee.
What's your biggest investment? More than likely, it's your home. So treat it that way when you hire a painting contractor. With PBS Painting, there are no gimmicks, no $99 specials. Just quality painting and someone who treats your home with the same respect that you do. At PBS Painting, we have been painting for years and look forward to many more years to come. With PBS Painting, the job gets prepped properly, whether it's cleaning, scraping, or priming. We always use quality products, which is a must for a quality paint job. So if you're looking for a painter that doesn't need upfront money and is on the job at all times, then please give me a call. Scott Bowers and PBS Painting, 294-5122. That's PBS Painting, 294-5122. Look at some of our work on Facebook at PBS Painting Montgomery.
Hey folks, Rich Eisen here. Get ready because the football playoffs are here and the guys on my show are having a blast picking their teams and stats on Prize Picks. Plus, with basketball season going strong, they're able to pick combo projections across both sports. Join them on prizepicks.com/primetime. Easy gameplay and an enormous selection of players and stat options are what they tell me makes Prize Picks the #1 daily fantasy sports app. And right now, Prize Picks will match your first deposit up to $100. Brockman is loving that aspect. He's hooked. And all you need to do is visit prizepicks.com/primetime and use code primetime. That's code primetime at prizepicks.com/primetime for a first deposit match up to $100. Don't be left on the sideline this basketball season. Go to Prize Picks. Daily fantasy sports made easy. Must be present in certain states. Visit prizepicks.com for restrictions and details.
For too long, Alabama's statewide news companies have shamed us for our conservative Christian values. Alabama deserves a news company that cherishes our culture, a company that isn't bought and paid for by the powers that be. 1819 News is that company. Run by Alabamians for Alabamians, 1819 News celebrates what is good and beautiful about our state while exposing those who work against our values in secret. Just go to 1819news.com to learn more. Subscribe to our newsletter. That's 1819news.com.
We get Montgomery talking 24 hours a day. The River Region's most trusted voice. News Talk 93.1 FM, WACV.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back to News and Views in the Afternoon. Again, joining me on the stream in just a moment, we have John Millhiser. He is, the founder of the American Center for Law and Public Safety. Again, this is to push back against a lot of these, say, activist DAs. And we're going to go through, the goals of this new organization and look forward to my conversation with John. But first, this part of the program brought to you by Bo Goodson and the Goodson Group. And there at the Goodson Group, Bo and his team are ready to help you, whether you're looking to buy or sell here in the River Region real estate market. They really do provide excellent service there at the Goodson Group. And it's not only for buyers and sellers in the Montgomery and surrounding areas. They also can help you if you want to rent out your property. Great idea in this area. Rental investment's a great idea, but it can be a pain in the butt to be your own landlord. Why not, for a reasonable fee, have the Goodson Group do that for you? And then the crown jewel there at the Goodson Group is the Bo Goodson Real Estate School. It's one of the most highly acclaimed programs here in the state of Alabama. Well, because the proof's in the pudding, folks. So many people have graduated from Bo School and gone on to great success, whether as more knowledgeable private players or fully licensed realtors. So check out the Goodson Group today. You can always go online at thegoodsongroup.com or give them a call at 551-0225. That's 551-0225. Bo Goodson and the Goodson Group. Great sponsor here of News and Views in the Afternoon. And without further ado, I want to bring onto the stage here, we have John Millhiser. He's the founder of American Center for Law and Public Safety. John, how are you this afternoon?
Joey, I'm doing great. Thank you very much for having me on.
Thank you for joining me. Now, before we get into the new organization you've helped set up, tell us a little bit about yourself and your background.
So I live in Springfield, Illinois. Spent the majority of my adult life in Illinois and my career over the last almost 3 decades as a state and federal prosecutor. I'm currently the Sangamon County State's Attorney. So Sangamon County is in Springfield, which is the state capital of Illinois. It's not Chicago, as a lot of people think. And so I was in this position for several terms. Then I served when Donald Trump was president as the United States Attorney for the Central District of Illinois. When that time was up, did a couple things, taught school for a year in an alternative high school, enjoyed that, had the opportunity to come back to my old position as the state's attorney in Sangamon County. And I jumped at that and excited to be back prosecuting cases and working to keep the community safe.
Well, and we lost you for a second there, but I think we got our connection back. But given that background,
Mhm.
I imagine there's a lot of things you could do with your life. So why start this organization? What's the big pressing need here?
Well, I'll tell you. So it was a group of former U.S. attorneys and I that would all serve together from all around the country. And we were sitting around when our time was done as U.S. attorney, watching what was happening in communities when they would have these so-called progressive prosecutors. And so we, as a group, said we can either sit back and hope it changes and gets better, or we can try to do something about it. So last year we formed a 501c4 called the American Center for Law and Public Safety. And our advisory board is made up of prosecutors who have the experience and background to talk about the issues. And the main purpose of this organization is to educate communities on what they should expect from their elected DA. And we've seen around the country in cities where prosecutors come in and don't do what they should be doing, don't prosecute cases, community safety suffers, those citizens suffer. And we want to make sure that people understand what they should expect from a prosecutor in their jurisdiction.
Well, and it seems like the shift has been, and maybe you could inform me on some of the history when this started, to we have to care more about say the alleged criminal in a case, and there should be substantive due process, equal justice. But it seems like victims in particular are being forgotten in the process.
Well, I agree with you completely. And, I go out and speak to groups all the time and I tell them, here are my priorities. Number one is prioritize public safety. So if you have somebody in a community and their prosecutor comes in and that is not the number one priority, there is a problem. So when we set up this organization last year, we said, we're going to come up with 5 principles that are important for prosecutors in any jurisdiction. Number one, prioritize public safety. Number 2, respect for the rule of law. What that means is there are 3 branches of government. I, as a prosecutor, have to follow the law and respect the law, but not decide when I come in that there are certain categories of crimes that I'm not going to prosecute. And we've seen what happens when prosecutors do that, whether it be San Francisco and entire stores leaving, or Chicago with stores leaving certain areas. Number 3, as you said, support victims' rights. We have to support victims. Collaborate with law enforcement. Number 4. And number 5, which is a big part of it, is support re-entry programs for offenders. These individuals that get arrested, that get prosecuted, whether it be in jail or in prison, most of them are going to get out. So what are we going to do to support them, to make sure they're in the best position to not reoffend? We need to think about that. We need to bring in community partners to make sure these people have the best opportunity to not reoffend when they're released. Because if the ultimate goal is public safety, we can do that a couple ways. We can lock up those people that are committing crimes. And while they're locked up during that short period of time, those crimes won't be committed by them outside of the jail, but they're going to get released. So what do we do to reduce recidivism? So when they get released, they do not reoffend. And one thing, since I've been back, I came back to this position in November, is not only working with this organization, but working with community partners in Central Illinois to say, how can we work together to support these individuals that are getting arrested, to make sure they're in the best position to not reoffend when they're released.
And again, folks, we're talking to John Millhiser with the American Center for Law and Public Safety. Kind of want to underline one thing you brought up there. It's this idea of prosecutor's discretion. And I imagine there's plenty of room for a given prosecutor to, use his best judgment. And these facts of the case, does this compel me to go forward with it? Mm-hmm. But you said something that I just want to underline for the audience. They're taking like whole categories of crime, right? And this is just, where the heck is that coming from?
Well, they come in, as I said, with some other political agenda, which is very, very dangerous. And the important part of our group, and one of, I think, the major selling points, is this is a bipartisan effort. This is not, Republican or Democrat or independent. It is all of them combined, because everybody wants safe communities. On our advisory board, not only is it made up of former prosecutors from all around the country, former U.S. attorneys, but Democrats and Republicans. Because we all understand the importance of a prosecutor doing their job. And when they come into office, some come in with this agenda to say, you know what, I'm not going to prosecute retail theft as a felony unless it's over $1,000, or drug crimes. I'm not going to prosecute at all drug crimes. drugs should be legal, so I'm not going to prosecute those offenses. And those have very dangerous consequences. And I have friends all over the country in jurisdictions where that is happening. For example, with the drug crimes, oftentimes these individuals that are getting arrested have an underlying mental health issue or drug addiction problems. We need to get them help. If we can get them into the system and say, we need to maybe get you rerouted to a counselor or substance abuse treatment, we can do that in the criminal justice system. If we don't have that kind of hammer over their head, oftentimes they do not get treatment. Society has guardrails. Guardrails are these laws we have. People are like, well, they're only minor offenses. They're only minor offenses. Well, those minor offenses, if not prosecuted, it can go sideways awfully quick. And these same individuals then commit more violent, more serious offenses. And we have to stop them early and get them the help they need. A modern day, I go around and speak to groups. A modern day prosecutor is a problem solver. It's not just locking people up. It's using all the tools available to make sure society is safe, to make sure communities are safe, to make sure those people that are breaking the law are put in a position to not reoffend and be successful. I'll give you an example. If somebody is a convicted felon, right, it is difficult for them to get a job. So we work with employers to say, will you hire these individuals? If we put them back into the community, we want them to be successful. They need to have a job. They need to have housing, oftentimes continue their education. So we need to have those supports in the community. And when we do that, we can make the community as safe as possible. What we also have to do is prosecute those violent offenders. You can't do one without the other in order to keep a community safe. And that's what we preach when we go around and talk about what is needed in a good prosecutor. You have to not only prosecute crimes, minor offenses, violent crimes to keep our streets safe, but you also have to provide the resources to help these individuals not reoffend, reduce recidivism, and communities can be safer because of that. And communities can stay, with businesses in their neighborhood. You look in San Francisco or Chicago, you have entire stores leaving neighborhoods. And it's oftentimes neighborhoods that can least afford to have that store leave. Oftentimes the people in those communities don't have the resources to drive out to some mall that's far out in the suburbs. They need the store there. And when the prosecutor doesn't do their job and enforce those crimes, whether it be retail theft or drug offenses or these criminal trespass or these other offenses, then crime increases, quality of life goes down, stores leave, and everyone that lives in that community is hurt because of it.
Indeed. And now, one thing I'm sitting here pondering is this disrespect or lack of trust with police. It seems like there's a correlation between, say, the more activist DAs and activist prosecutors and also this agenda of, I don't even want to use the term defund the police, but just this general disrespect and distrust that's out there. Is that just a correlation, or are these two related in your mind?
Well, here's what I can tell you. The police are a part of the solution to keeping communities safe, and communities need to make sure they engage with the police. And that goes both ways. The law enforcement and police need to make sure they engage with those communities. One of our 5 principles is collaborate with law enforcement, because we understand the importance of making sure the police are part of the solution. I will tell you one program that I ran when I was U.S. attorney was called BLAST, and it was building lasting relationships between the community and the police. We would bring high school age kids in to the U.S. attorney's office. We would give them instruction from the police. There was a firearm simulator. We had instruction on criminal law. I had them listen to 911 calls, actual 911 calls, so they could hear what the police have before they go to a call. We talk about careers in law enforcement. And the whole point was to make sure that these folks in the community and these kids that might have a distrust of the police are engaged in a non-confrontational setting. And BLAST was very successful. I was glad we did it, and it's done in other places around the country. But there needs to be engagement between communities and law enforcement. And that helps several ways. One, when we have a crime in a community, when the police go to that location, they need witnesses. They need evidence to prosecute and solve that crime. If there is not trust with the community of the police, oftentimes they don't get anybody coming forward. They show up at the scene and everybody says, we didn't see anything. So if you build that trust early on, before the crime happens, it is so vitally important to then solve the case. And ultimately, it's to support the victim, help the victim, bring closure to the victim, and often these very violent offenses. So community engagements, law enforcement working with communities, and that going both directions is vitally important. And it's important for a prosecutor to understand that and not villainize the police. They have to work with them. That's not to say that there aren't oftentimes some situations where an officer needs to be prosecuted. That's in any profession. Right. But the vast majority of law enforcement are there doing the best they can every day. They have a family. They want to go home safely to them. They want to do what they can to protect the community. And that's what we do. That's what they do. We need to make sure we support them and work with them. And the community needs to work with law enforcement. Law enforcement needs to work with the community.
Well, and I love this approach. And again, we're talking to John Milheiser from the American Center for Law and Public Safety. It sounds like to me this is more focused on localities, municipalities, because it's the world we live in 2024. I look at the rule of law, say at the federal level, and despite the work of professionals such as yourself, it seems it's been very politicized, for lack of a better word. And I, in my mind, think trust could be rebuilt, maybe not through the top down in elections. It's more we start rebuilding this at the local level.
Oh, 100% you're right. So when you look at that, and I always say good government's good politics. So we need to make sure that prosecutors are doing their job in every jurisdiction. There's just under 2,500 elected DAs around the country that run offices. We need to make sure each of those offices are run by a responsible, professional prosecutor, not somebody who is there for some other reason, some political agenda. I mentioned that our organization is bipartisan, and it's because the job of a prosecutor is apolitical. Politics does not enter the equation at all in anything I do or in anything a professional prosecutor does, even though oftentimes we have to run for election. Sure, we have to run for election, but we're in the job. Politics does not play a part in the decisions we make. Every case is looked at and done for the right reasons, based on what happened in the case and looking at the law, with the objective to keep the community safe, to reduce recidivism, and to help people. The job of a prosecutor, I mentioned earlier, a modern day prosecutor is a problem solver. We're also there to help people. This is not only here, but everywhere. People are short prosecutors. There are jobs out there for individuals to be prosecutors, and I think that's all lines of work. I'm not sure where all the employees went, right? But they're hard to find. But I go and talk to groups about being a prosecutor, and I tell them, do you want to be a state court prosecutor? They kind of look at me, I describe it. Then I've kind of changed my approach, and I say, do you want to help people and keep the community safe? And they're like, oh, yeah, I do. And then we talk about all the things we can do as a prosecutor to make sure that happens.
Well, if folks are out there listening to our conversation right now and want to help your organization or join in or have some event, how can they get involved?
Yeah, well, they can go to our website, which is taclps.com, the American Center for Law and Public Safety. Again, we're a bipartisan national organization made up of folks. The majority who initially started it were Billy Williams in Oregon, who was a longtime state prosecutor like I was, and then was U.S. attorney under both President Obama and President Trump. Tim Shea, who was U.S. attorney in Washington, D.C., administrator of the DEA. Brian Moran, who was a longtime prosecutor in Washington. Jay Town, longtime state court prosecutor in Alabama, on our advisory board. So it's individuals around the country that really care about the work of a prosecutor, want to make sure it's done correctly, want to make sure we educate the public as best we can on what they should expect of their prosecutor. We have our 5 principles, and it's incredibly important. I think if you look and see what has happened in Chicago or San Francisco or Portland right now, when you have prosecutors that come in with a political agenda, not to do their job and keep the community safe, it is dangerous. It's dangerous for those communities. And we need to make sure we have good prosecutors in every jurisdiction in this country.
Well, John, I appreciate not only your time today, but everything you're doing along with your colleagues here. I think it's important work. I'm talk radio, talk about getting fired. I can be obnoxious, a bit of a jackass on air, but we need fine folks like yourself. We don't just need clowns like me. And I really do appreciate the work, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Joey. Thank you very much for your time.
Again, folks, that's John Millhiser. Be sure to check out the American Center for Law and Public Safety, TACLPS.com. I've got that here if folks want to call behind the scenes. Got to hit a quick break here. More news and views in the afternoon after this.
He may not know whether he's coming or going, but whether you're going to work or coming home, Greg Budell is there. Mornings 6 till 9 and afternoons 3 till 6. Only on News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Conservative Justice Sarah Stewart has the experience to lead Alabama's courts. As a tough-on-crime judge, Sarah Stewart presided over hundreds of cases, giving tough sentences to the worst criminals. Republicans can trust Justice Sarah Stewart to defend the Constitution and protect our families. On March 5th, vote conservative Republican Sarah Stewart for Alabama Chief Justice. Paid for by Sarah Stewart Campaign, 2029B, Airport Boulevard, Mobile, Alabama, 36606.
This is your roving reporter, and today I am talking with an elk. Hey man, Mr. Elk, I was just wondering, what do elk do to take care of their money? Well, like most smart folks, we call David Ernest. You mean Alabama's most favorite asset preservationist? That's him, man. We call him up at 334-279-7431 or 205-479-0839. I see. Yes, he is our preferred money man. The money man with the money plan. You've been paying attention. Well, could you give us those numbers one more time? 334-279-7431 or 205-479-0839. And I just want to try to give you a heads up, man. Oh, what's that? I'm not an elk. Not an elk, huh? Well, then, pray tell, what are you? Knights of Columbus. I am not even going to make a comment. Well, the baby liked it.
Hi, this is Jason with Wholesale Hunter. We've been advertising with Blue Water for a while now. We have great results with them. Appreciate everything they do with us.
Radio works. It's as simple as that. Call us to find out how radio can work for your business. Blue Water Broadcasting. Local folks helping local business.
With the Wall Street Business Report, I'm Rich Thomason. Wall Street opened lower this morning as corporate earnings continued pouring in while markets await the Federal Reserve's next interest rate decision. UPS tumbled more than 7% after the Atlanta-based package delivery company dialed back 2024 guidance below Wall Street targets. General Motors climbed nearly 8% after the automaker said its net income and sales were up by double-digit percentages last year. Microsoft, Google, and Starbucks to report their latest results after the bell. Amazon says in 2023 it hit a high watermark for delivery speed for Prime customers. The number of items delivered same day or overnight grew by more than 65% year over year in the U.S. during the fourth quarter of the year. It also says more than 70% of Prime orders arrived same day or the next in the U.K. For the Wall Street Business Report, I'm Rich Thomason.
Rich Thomas Weather, a service of Riverside Chevrolet Wetumpka. If it's Chevy, it's Riverside. Best price, best selection. Check them out on the web at riversideusa.net.
Rich Thomas Weather. Hi, everybody. Not a bad forecast as we get ready to end the month of January and start February. Today, sunshine will be near the normal high of 61. Tonight, mostly clear, chilly, overnight low 40. Tomorrow, a little cooler and breezy, too, with a high of 57. Sunshine. I think we'll see another freeze on Wednesday night. Upper 50s Thursday, mid-60s on Friday and Saturday. More sun and dry through Saturday. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
At CB&S Bank, we've been meeting the needs of our customers since 1906. Need help setting up new business goals? Our line of commercial loans can help you achieve them. Go to cbsbank.com to find a location near you. All loans subject to credit approval, member FDIC, and equal housing lender.
Hey folks, this is Tammy Burkhalter at Prattville Farm Center, and did you know there's all kind of dogs that we can feed? Like sleeping dog, hot dog, creek dog, swimming dog, hunting dog, shaggy dog, lap dog, window dog, riding dog, hiding dogs, puppy dog, standing dog, hat dog, cozy dog, family dog, even a dancing dog, man. So come see us at 1154 South Memorial Drive in Prattville, and we can even feed your kitty cat too.
If it concerns your community, you'll hear about it on News Talk 93.1. News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back to News and Views in the afternoon. 272-9228. If you want to join the conversation, that's 272-9228. This part of the program brought to you by Montgomery Men's Health. And there at Montgomery Men's Health, well, men, two things can happen as we start to get older. Sometimes it happens even before we get older, but erectile dysfunction and low testosterone. Nothing to deny, put off, or be ashamed about. And it's not something to wait to get fixed. Yeah, guys hate going to the doctor, but Montgomery Men's Health was created to take care of guys just like us. So if you're lacking motivation in your daily life, lack of energy as well, always tired, perhaps you're seeing unwanted weight gain, loss of muscle mass, and you're going to the gym and that's happening. Maybe even a decrease in sex drive. It just feels like you're walking through life in a fog. Well, knowing whether you have low testosterone is huge in combating some of these issues. The providers at Montgomery Men's Health will conduct a testosterone-focused lab workup plus a consultation for only $99. Now, you should get testosterone and PSA checked as an annual part of your men's health routine. Some urologists recently suggested that men should start getting their T checked as low as the age of 18. So at Montgomery Men's Health, if they run you through that test, that lab, and they find you do, in fact, have low T, they have treatments there that can truly change your life. Most men can experience higher energy, better gains at the gym, better mental clarity, improved sleep patterns, a faster metabolism. You may even notice an increased libido, and there ain't nothing wrong with that. You can actually book on the same day that you call. Guys, it's time to feel amazing and hit your goals this year. That number for Montgomery Men's Health, 440-3663. That's 440-3663. Or go to MontgomeryMen'sHealth.com and be sure to tell them, well, you heard about them here on News and Views in the afternoon. Now, it did come out this morning that the Biden administration is prepared, that Biden has made his decision, and that, the strike is imminent. Imminent, and who knows when it will actually, blow up over there. But Biden has made his decision. It could very well be a military response that's multi-leveled, come in stages, and be sustained over time. And again, Biden, here's the exact quote, maybe giving the game away of what they're about to do. Quote, "I have decided how to respond to Iran." So you're going to hit Iran, but we don't want war to spread. Well, we'll see where they go with all this. But Blinken saying this is the most dangerous moment for the Middle East since 1973. But here's the idea of what Blinken is talking about. He says, quote, "I would argue that we've not seen a situation as dangerous as the one we're facing now across the region, at least since 1973, and arguably even before that. The U.S. will defend its personnel and interest and has taken significant action to deter groups and degrade their capabilities in Iraq, Syria, and Yemen," Tony Blinken said. President Biden has been, quote, "very clear that we want to prevent broader escalation in the region, but has also warned that the U.S. will respond strongly to anyone who will try to use the crisis to create further instability or attack American personnel. As the president said yesterday," Blinken went on, "we will respond. That response could be multi-leveled, come in stages, and be sustained over time." The Secretary of State emphasized the U.S. does not seek conflict. Well, that's a crock. It's a lie. The U.S. doesn't seek conflict. Okay. Yeah, we're just pussycats over here. We don't ever, make people nervous with our foreign policy. But now Blinken is saying that might be real hope for a new hostage deal negotiation. Describing a proposal on the table for a new hostage release deal between Israel and Hamas as strong and compelling. The U.S. Secretary of State noted that the less said, the better in terms of negotiations on a new hostage deal, but that the work that is being done is important and hopeful. He said Hamas will have to make its own decisions, and that it is his strong assessment that Israel would very much like to see this process of hostages coming out. He added, quote, "I can say that very important productive work has been done and there is some real hope going forward." Well, there's your foreign policy update for the day. We'll see what these geniuses up there in the West Wing decide to do. Again, 272-9228. If you want to get in on the program, that's 272-9228. Second hour coming up. And before I hit the top of the hour break, this part of the program brought to you by, well, Cole Plumbing. James Cole and his team are ready to help you when it comes to any of those plumbing emergencies you might have, especially a burst pipe. Inside or outside your home, it can create a huge mess. So time is of the essence. They know. And in order to solve the problem, they have unique proprietary technology there at Cole Plumbing where they can solve that problem with precision and expertise. That means they're not going to have to dig out a huge hole in your yard, tear out a bunch of drywall. Again, with precision and expertise, they can get that job done. They can also help on everyday plumbing problems from low water pressure to a clogged drain. Don't be just dumping gallons of Drano down your drains. You're just destroying your pipes. Don't do that. Like, get Cole Plumbing out there. They can even help with things like tree root invasion or a gas line leak. They can do it all there at Cole Plumbing. Help you upgrade to a tankless water heater system or a taller toilet as you get up there, especially in age and the knees don't want to go so low. They can help you with all these things there at Cole Plumbing. So you can always go to coleplumbing.com or give them a call at 279-8919. That's 279-8919. And just remember, folks, when you have trouble with your bowl, call on Cole. More news and views in the afternoon after this.
Broadcasting from the Riverside Chevrolet Master Control Center, this is WACV Cusana, News Talk 93.1 FM. When it's Chevy, it's Riverside.
With SRN News, I'm John Scott. Former President Trump is staying on the primary ballot in Illinois. The state's election board has declined to remove the Republican 2024 frontrunner. A decision in Maine is on hold. At least 2 people hospitalized after an Amtrak train derailed when it hit a truck carrying milk in a rural area in northeastern Colorado late Monday. 6 men found shot to death last week in Southern California desert were likely shot in a dispute over marijuana. The bodies found in the Mojave Desert outside El Mirage. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis wants lawmakers to change Washington this year. He will push congressional term limits and require a balanced federal budget. The Dow had 96 points, the NASDAQ 101 points in the red. This is SRN News.
The new FedNow system is paving the way for the digital dollar. It grants the government unprecedented access to your financial transactions. This isn't just an invasion of privacy, it's a direct assault on your liberty and hard-earned money. It's another reason why I recommend physical gold IRAs from the Birch Gold Group. I'm Lance Wallnau. I'm a news analyst and a podcaster with nearly 25 million downloads to people just like you who cherish their financial independence. A precious metals IRA can help you avoid the scrutiny of Big Brother while also preserving your retirement savings through almost anything, including economic crashes, political instability, and even hyperinflation. To find out more, get your free info kit on gold IRAs by texting the word FAITH to 989898. Birch Gold Group is the only gold company I trust. Get their free info kit and see how a gold IRA can help you. Text FAITH to 989898. Remember, there's no strings attached. Text FAITH to the number 989898 right now, and I pray you're blessed with continued prosperity.
Rich Thomas weather brought to you by Wiley Sanders Truck Lines. Truckers, if you are looking for green grass, contact Wiley Sanders Truck Lines. In business since 1959 and still growing. Call today, 855-777-9785.
Hi, everybody. Not a bad forecast as we get ready to end the month of January and start February. Today, sunshine will be near the normal high of 61. Tonight, mostly clear, chilly, overnight low 40. Tomorrow, a little cooler and breezy, too, with a high of 57. Sunshine. I think we'll see another freeze on Wednesday night. Upper 50s Thursday, mid-60s on Friday and Saturday. More sun and dry through Saturday. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
For the lowest prices around on flooring and DIY flooring installation supplies, Budget Floors and More is your new best friend. Luxury vinyl plank, carpet, ceramic tile, floor installation supplies, and more with prices lower than the big box stores. Budget Floors and More, Hunter Lane across from Del Rey Publix.
From the Blue Water Broadcasting News Center, here's today's top stories. Montgomery police are investigating a Monday afternoon shooting. Police responded to the 1700 block of Bancroft Avenue around 4:10 p.m., where they found a female suffering from a gunshot wound. The victim, whose exact age was not given, was taken to an area hospital for treatment. The Montgomery Police Department is asking for the public's help in identifying the suspect in a fatal hit-and-run accident. 46-year-old Keith Randall was struck and killed by a vehicle in the 1100 block of West South Boulevard around 10 p.m. on January 5th. The driver fled the scene and is yet to be identified. Alabamians who want to work should have no problem finding a job in the state. More than 80,000 job ads were posted online last month. If you're looking for a job, contact your local Alabama Career Center. There are currently over 7,000 job postings in Montgomery alone. From the Blue Water Broadcasting News Center, I'm Sky Mosley.
This hour of news and views is brought to you by our good friends at Alabama Home Mortgage. Alabama Home Mortgage, 567-4223. Visit them on the web at myalabamahomemortgage.com. NMLS number 1586368. An equal housing lender.
My name is Chris Tarantino, and I'm running for Prattville City Council District 5. My goals for Prattville include improving technology for our schools and first responders, prioritize upgrades to infrastructure, enhancing our parks and rec facilities, ensuring efficient use of public funds, and accountability with taxpayer money. You can find more information about me and my vision for Prattville on Facebook or at ChrisTarantino4District5.com.
Paid for by Chris Tarantino, 518 Seasons Court, Prattville, Alabama, 36066.
The views and opinions of the following program are solely those of the host and other contributors. These do not necessarily represent those of Liberty Acquisitions 825, Blue Water Broadcasting, its management, staff, or any advertisers. It's time for Montgomery's conversational radio show. It's news and views on News Talk 93.1 FM. To join the conversation, call 272-9228.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back to News and Views in the afternoon. Flying solo today. The guest in the studio is off microphone, but always great having an audience here live in the studio. Good to see you, kind sir. And, well, it breaks my heart because I was watching all the craziness happen on Facebook, trying to make heads or tails of it. But the missing person, 16-year-old Michael Anthony Cole Jr., well, when Aaliyah pulled the missing persons alert, I suspected the worst. Well, the body of 16-year-old Michael Anthony Cole Jr. was found. The 6500 block of Selma Highway. No clear motive in the case, just yet, at least not known publicly. But the suspects identified in court documents, 2 people have been arrested, 2 18-year-olds. Nicholas Trevon King Shepard, and Nedvin Maynard Jones Jr. Both of Montgomery are charged with felony murder and being held without bail at the Montgomery County Detention Facility. The filings, these court filings, I'm reading from WSFA, folks. The filings state that on January the 25th at approximately 8:43 p.m., a Montgomery Police Patrol unit responded to the 3500 block of Gaston Avenue in reference to a shooting. The responding officer collected evidence and observed bullet damage to the residence. Cole's family reported him missing on the same day. Apparently, all the suspects and victims knew each other. But we don't know too much more than that. There's some speculation online. Apparently, the department used drones, searched a body of water, and investigated Cole's disappearance. The case was initially classified as a runaway. There were stories about the family pleading for finding him. First a runaway, then a missing persons. And it wasn't until yesterday that Aaliyah issued an emergency missing child alert, which was canceled this morning when the body was found. Investigators followed leads that led them to discovery of Cole's body and facts to support the charge of felony murder, the court filing stated. In Alabama, a felony murder charge involves a person committing or attempting to commit any of a number of felony crimes that result in the death of another. It is unclear if more suspects will be charged in connection to the homicide. The investigation is very fluid. And I'm just looking at a picture of Michael Anthony Cole Jr. He's a kid. Kids killing kids, man. Just monstrous. And apparently the body was, dumped. Third, wow. The hell is going on in this city? I can't imagine. I'm not a parent. I can't imagine being a parent. Send your son or daughter off, try to get them to do the right things in life, and maybe they are doing the right things in life, but they get wrapped up with the wrong folks. I'm sure this story ain't over. We shall see who else maybe was involved. But that's just, lack of a better word, heartbreaking. 272-9228, especially if you have any insights or comments on this. You're on there. Who's this?
Hey, Joey, it's Bill.
Hey, Bill.
You know, after listening to you and John's conversation a few minutes ago, do you see some similarities in Montgomery for what he was talking about?
Not to the extent of the other examples you get, but to a certain extent, yeah. Though, I don't think Daryl Bailey's been light on prosecuting, especially violent crimes and crimes of all sorts.
Well, he can only prosecute where there's been arrest made. So if you stop making arrests, yeah, prosecutions go down. If you go back, and I've tried to find some information, and it's not really easy to come by, but I'd like to know what the mileage that police cars were driven in 2019 compared to what police cars are driven this past year. Because the correlation is going to be how much patrolling is done by the city police force.
Right.
The other thing that I would like to see is how many drug arrests were made in, say, 2018 through 2023 and where the decline falls. And then also some of the tickets for traffic tickets, driving tickets. I think you'll see a pretty big drop-off in the last 3 years.
Yeah.
Well, appreciate you letting me have my word.
And I appreciate you, Bill. The reason for my silence is I'm still stuck on, I'm just looking at these photos, and it's, more patrolling, I think, helps tightening up at every level. The police department would help, especially if there's a cultural problem and this whole rumor mill around the police department.
Yeah.
But I'm looking at, it's kids killing kids, and it's just, it's something, we can do what we can, but there's something deeper going on that's just wicked.
What is the murder count so far this year, and what was it for last year?
I don't know off the top of my head.
Yeah. Well, the first part of the year, it was reported on pretty much. The last half, when we got up closer to 100, not so much.
Well, and I'll put it this way, Bill, that when I talked to Stephen Reed last time, the mayor, I asked, what's your top priority in a second term? And he said, getting this murder rate down. So it's too high. It's way too damn high, no matter the given number.
Yeah. Well, I know we only had to go about 4 hours into 2024 before we had our first.
Yeah.
And, you know, they report on them now, but they don't keep a running tally, so to speak. And I think that's important. I mean, like you say, any murder is too many. But the fact is you kind of get numbed by the reports, and you go, oh, 2 more. Oh, 1 more. Oh, another.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. There's something going on, that's for sure. And I bet it has to do with drugs.
Something. Because this wasn't like a one-off thing by any means. I appreciate it, Bill.
You too.
Let's go to line 3. You're on there. Who's this? Hello.
Is it me?
Hey, Randall. How you doing?
Oh, I didn't hear the beat. My bad. I'm sorry. That's a rookie mistake. I'm so sorry about that. Oh, man. I kind of walk down this as best way I can, and kind of maybe, I ain't trying to hurt nobody's feelings and make y'all think no way that I'm looking at this wrong. Everybody's different, but unknowingly, it was caused by the police department. Unknowingly, they think they was doing right, and it started back in the 2000s, and this is a result of it. And I'll say the name of the first person because it's on the streets, and the street convicts don't mind saying it, but they call him Police Pete. It started with him, and I know where. I even know where he lives, man. Like I know him. I work with him. He worked with me. Like I say work, I'm talking about in construction, like not doing that stuff. But when I tell you they insert jealousy, either on accident or on purpose, whichever way, and then they feed off of it. They insert it into the crew. And back in the 2090s, there was a structure, and they had a rules to follow. There were people in charge. Well, they started paying the lower. They started inserting jealousy, and the police became the daddy of the crews, not the OGs no more. They started paying. They started giving the men money and taking the lieutenants out of the game. So the police started paying and had their own folks telling on their own folks. So you start looking around. You don't know what to do. You know what I mean? You want to take care of your people, but you got enough money to get out of there.
Well,
what do you think happened?
Pump the brakes real quick so I can give it back to you, make sure I understand what you're claiming here. Is that essentially the guys running the streets were paying better?
Yeah, and they was working their way up. And you're not going to stop there. I mean, our government pumped so much drugs in here, you're never going to end it. And that's even why, I mean, that's why they got the weed houses so high. People still going to go out the street because they put so many stipulations on it. If you go buy weed at one of them places, you can't get a whole bunch because the moisture content has to be so low that because they talk about it molding and stuff because it can sit on the shelf so long. Once you open it, it dries up. Like, it's boom, it's gone. And it don't last.
Yeah, I remember college. You don't have to inform me.
Yeah. No, I'm just saying that's just where we all right, so you still going to have all the drugs on the street. It ain't going to change. It might have you legalize every piece of it because of how and the structure is going to be too high in the building. So go back down where that. Yeah, it ain't about paying, but it gave them hope, gave them somewhere to go. But when jealousy got instructions in there and they started paying, and I'm not saying there wasn't no couple $100 now. I mean, Police Pete got a couple thousand for those people, like one time. You know what I mean? Like he probably got a W-2. Like I mean, I'm dead serious about this, and that's how it all started. So the Pies got took out of the game. Like the big men, OGs took their money and moved out the hood and started other businesses, and that they couldn't help their youngers no more. because they, you know what I mean. So they left them to the and the police still pay people. It's right now. There's more talk on Facebook about that these days than ever has been. They're starting to point out, and now all structure is gone. Everybody's blaming everybody. Nobody is in control of nobody.
Well, and this is yeah, and I'm letting you put it out there, Randall, because I don't know. I'm just hearing this from you now. I don't know whether or not it's true. But it's more, we're living in a time where we don't have the traditional systems where it's just us on radio and just WSFA and the advertiser. Especially the young folks out there are going to be communicating on social media, and you can boo-hoo that all you like if you're an authority. But folks are going to talk, and what you just said at the last there, Randall, about everybody pointing fingers, this is not a good situation to be in. It just doesn't feel right to me. I'll put it that way.
No, and I want to say what this man. Yeah, you right. You on the right track about this. What this is about, man? Because it's all, man. It's all the kill tracks, man. I know. I mean, I hate to say that, but I feel it, man. And it's bad because people are killing to cover up just to eat. Like, I mean, that's how it is, y'all. It's just that. Awful out there. I mean, there's nowhere for them to turn.
So an 18-year-old is killing a 16-year-old just to eat and make ends meet.
Well, or either the 16-year-old found out where he robbed or something got, you know what I mean, done
keeping
away
people
with,
quiet,
and he
right.
Yeah, he knew too much. I'm just saying that because that's what I feel. And I'm doing all this on Facebook now. Police can get on there and read it just like I do. I'm reading crimes 4 weeks ago before the other friend was killed.
Right.
I'm doing all. I mean, and it's hard to read that stuff. And some of it is gone now. I mean, they deleting crap faster than I ever seen. But like, y'all get in there and read it, and you can figure it out yourself. And quit paying. It's too late to quit paying them now because the police are out of the game. Like, they don't have enough police to investigate. They just pay, instead of paying the police to investigate, they pay the boys to tell on the men. And that's what happened, man. That's the shortest,
I appreciate it, Randall. I really I appreciate the call, man.
All right, brother.
Let's go to line one. You're on there. Who's this?
Simpler Days.
Hey, Simpler Days. How you doing?
Well, there's a correlation between Montgomery, Alabama, and Seattle, Washington. Both of them had murders in the 70s, somewhere around 75, 77 in 2023. Seattle, Washington is about 3 times the size of Montgomery. The common denominator is both of them have a critical shortage of police officers. And when they came about with the movement to defund the police, that didn't go over very well, and they got a lot of blowback on it. So they decided to change their tactics, and they went to the old flea powder that used to put on dogs back in the day, Joey, and it was called D-Flea. It was real cheap, and you could just spread it on the dog, and it was supposed to make the fleas run. Well, what they did was they de-policed. They didn't defund. They made it so hard
that
nobody wants the job now.
Right.
And,
yeah, if you're, just to give it back to you, if you're a young cop, if you're a young officer, and say you do a great job, you make one mistake that, formerly wouldn't have gotten you in trouble at all, you're kind of on the outs, and you're on the hook also for lawsuits, I'm sure, and all sorts of other things. And not to mention a lot of the population just doesn't even want to see you. Will dog cuss you if you're just in the vicinity, you're not even bothering anybody. It's no wonder nobody wants to do the damn job.
Well, the pay was not ever
right
going to make you rich, but you felt good about yourself.
Right.
You felt good that people wanted you there and wanted to do the job. But the specialized units in the police department, Montgomery Police Department, like the intel unit, those units are gone now because they had to strip them down because they're trying just to cover the calls for service. And those units are where you gather intel, you find out about criminal activity going on, and so until they get more officers back up, you're going to see Montgomery rival cities like Seattle, Washington.
Yeah,
Have a
no,
good day.
I appreciate it, Simpler Days. And as he was talking, I was just looking down on Facebook, and it's another picture of Mike, and he's just a kid, man. Let's go to line 3. You're on there. Who's this?
Mr. Pink.
Hey, Mr. Pink.
Hey, how you doing, man? I'm halfway agreeing with Randall. A lot of this stuff's been going on since the 90s, man, and nobody ever gave a damn, man. I would like to just take a phrase, man, that I used to hear all the time. What kind of country are we leaving for our children and our grandchildren? It's like, this is what we asked for. We can't say what would Jesus do and then say what would Trump say. You know, it's like we're just living in hypocrisy right now, man. The race to the bottom, man. Gonna have to walk out here and take a smoke break. But yeah, but everything that's going on right now, this is all what we asked for, man. It's like we abandoned all the principles that we had. You know, it used to be real manly to be able to walk away.
Yeah.
Now, if you don't shoot somebody in the face, you're not a man. You know what I mean?
Well, and it just shows a sort of immature fear that's running through everybody. Well, you know, like I've seen the documentaries where like even old gangbangers like we would beat each other up and have fights, but the first move wasn't to pull out a gun and shoot each other.
No, man. No, man. I had on some colors when I was maybe 5th or 6th grade. I didn't know any better. Gang member told me, "Hey, take that off. Call me Bookworm." I knew my lesson. Like, he wasn't trying to take me out.
Right.
He taught me a valuable lesson. And now it's just, let's see how many bodies we can catch. You know, like the clout thing. Like Ronald was talking about the Facebook and it's like that's what we're doing stuff for now. It's like I said, man, we lost a lot, and it's just a race to the bottom. So it's probably going to just be just a dead generation, man. We're going to have to rebuild.
Well,
I have a son at 16 that was in Montgomery, and I'm so glad that he's not in that school yet.
Right.
I'm so glad I took my children away from them. So glad. They was giving worksheets out. Now my kids have 2-3 hours of homework every day. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it's a different curriculum. It's a much higher level, you know?
Well,
so, yeah.
It's just I got to stop looking at all these photos. I'm serious about to start tearing up here on air. This is just awful, man. Because you see pictures, he's in his school uniform, he's like doing school projects. It's just.
Yeah, it hurts, man. You get a lot of stories that just come across, you know, that like touch your heart, man. But you know what we say? We're desensitized. On to the next day. Well, I ain't messing with my paycheck. I don't care, you know? And that's how we done got it. It's like, I've tried to help people in Montgomery just to tell people to stay out their business. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I said, man, we just got to rebuild, man. Strong survive, the weak fall to the side, man. And the only thing we can do is just put the word out there. You can take it or you can leave it. So.
Well, and it's all about, I think, the only way you solve such wicked problems by wicked, I mean, not just evil, but complicated, complex, is it starts with personal responsibility. And that's not it's not a solution a lot of folks want to hear, but that's the only way you solve a systemic problem. That or you blow up the system, and I don't recommend the latter.
It does. I think they need to bring back whatever, the child abuse or whatever. They need to bring it back, man. I'm talking about for the parent, you know, the discipline.
Not, you don't mean like, you know, dad comes home drunk. You mean like go out back and get a switch. What you did was wrong. You're about to learn your lesson.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, a couple pops, you know, because these kids nowadays, not my kid, but they have no respect for their parents. So I know they don't have respect for anybody on these streets. You feel me?
Right.
You
Yes.
better be careful, man.
Yeah.
Hold on to your butts. So like I said, we gotta rebuild, man. That's all the time it is. It's people finally saying, I care. When I say what kind of country are we leaving behind, like when we're dead and gone, the people that we love, they're gonna be here in this world of chaos that we left because we didn't care. They're gonna have to be in this. Like I said, it's gonna be Fight Club, man.
Yeah.
Race to the bottom.
Race to the bottom, indeed. Well, I appreciate the call, Mr. Pink, as always.
All right. You too.
Let's go to line 4. You're on there. Who's this?
Hang on one second. Joey, thank you for taking my call.
Hey, Sam.
Yeah, man, I hate to hear you hurting. And that's hey, it's what we have to do if we got any humanity in us. We have to hurt a little bit, because it just doesn't make any sense. But what I wanted to chime in about, just a few years ago, another piece of this puzzle. Reports were made that here in the city of Montgomery, the local police department was being paid. Bonuses were offered by the federal government if they could bring down the rate of juvenile incarceration. And the accusation, they were accused of meeting those demands and getting the bonuses by just not arresting folks. And I don't know any more than that. That's just loose talk that was it. But money's magical. Money will make people do things, adjust their behavior, and over the years it could have an effect on the city, because it wasn't just here, but it reported nationwide. Brother, did that make any sense?
It did. It did.
Okay. Other than that, I was watching my YouTube videos last night, and there were several people reporting on the buildup. Now, of course, military is always on the move, but they were showing where they had tracked 3 B-52s fresh into Iraq, and there's a buildup going on, so it's right in front of our eyes. That's what I got, man. I hope, just you're doing a great job, and just have a good afternoon, brother.
Oh yeah, no, I appreciate it, Sam. I'm gonna be all right.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be just fine. 272-9228. It's just sometimes it gets the better of you. 272-9228. This part of the program brought to you by Pest Pro Services. And their Pest Pro Services, Ashley and her team, great folks. They've expanded over the last 3-4 years. And, that hasn't happened a lot with different businesses. That's how good Pest Pro Services is. Not just with their cutting-edge technology and their highly skilled staff helping take care of those pest control problems, from termites to mosquitoes to silverfish or cucarachas. They can do it all. They're Pest Pro, but they're also wonderful folks to work with. They're always giving back to the community. In fact, if you go to the Book of Faces, just search Pest Pro Services, you'll often see events they have going on, or tips and tricks on how to make sure the home is jam up and jelly tight when it comes to pest control and keeping those little critters out. So if you're looking for an emergency reason, maybe you found a huge wasp nest or something in the attic, or some sort of infestation, or it could be you're just looking for a trustworthy pest control company that's got your back. Pest Pro Services, 265-9990. That's 265-9990. Can also always go to ppsriverreaching.com, or again, search Pest Pro Services on the Book of Faces. When you want to know, call a pro. Pest Pro Services, and be sure to tell them, well, you heard about them here on News and Views in the afternoon. Let's see if this is on line 1. You're on there. Who's this?
Red Top.
Hey, Red
Good
Top.
afternoon, sir.
How you doing?
Let me tell you, Sunday, I saw an interview with the new head of Joint Chiefs of Staff.
Mm-hmm.
And he, like Lloyd Austin, almost says nothing, doesn't volunteer any information. Nora O'Donnell kept asking him questions, and he didn't say, yeah, we've got the plan for this. We know what to do in case of this. It was all, let's just see what's going to happen. My conclusion is the military is not conducting anything in the Red Sea or the Middle East. It is all being done by the CIA. They're giving the orders. I don't think the military knows what have been. I think they've been taken out of the chain of command, Joey.
Couldn't it be a mix of both? And you're talking about the new head is CQ Brown?
Yes, he was weak, Joey.
It could be they're just keeping tight lips, because I'd imagine it's a combination of what you're suggesting. They're definitely CIA assets that are used in a paramilitary way all over that part of the world, but I'm pretty sure, in particular with the Red Sea or that carrier group that was in the Mediterranean, these are actual naval ships engaged.
Oh, they are. But I'll run it back a few years to the Vietnam War, when Nixon gets on TV and says, we're about to stop fighting, and the CIA and Henry Kissinger plan all the Tet Offensive in the next whole year of vicious military attacks that's got us nowhere, and the military didn't have no part in planning any of that. And I get the feeling, here we go, we got Iraq, no weapons of mass destruction, but the intelligence people said it was there. This, to me, is a reoccurring theme, and I get it's been. I feel it's been since World War II, since the military's really decided what the military does. That's just my opinion, but you can watch that interview with Norah O'Donnell, and he acts weird. He's weak, doesn't want to say anything. Leads me to believe he really doesn't know. So that's just my opinion, and I missed part of Judge Napolitano because I had to go in and make some money. Hey, with some good old folks from Catholic High. Everybody went to Catholic High there. And Catholic won the wrestling championship this year. Did you see that?
I didn't, but that's awesome. And actually,
Yeah.
I've got a good friend whose son's on the wrestling team, so that's awesome.
State wrestling champions.
Really
And,
cool.
you know, I was on the wrestling team, and that was the only team that we had that was really any good because all the schools we played were so huge, we got the crap beat out of us. I mean, 82-0 is what Prattville beat Catholic High by when I was playing football. And I feel lucky I got out of the game alive because the guy looked like a 3-story house standing in front of me. And he was about that heavy too, Joey. At 145 pounds, I didn't stand a chance. I went back to piano lessons with the beautiful chicks after that. Roll Tide, go Trump. Thank you, buddy.
Thank you, Red Top. Well, and Red Top and others need to keep in mind when it comes to the top brass in the military, especially the forward-facing public face, like when you're the chair of the Joint Chiefs, they're just as much politicians these days as the actual politicians. I'm sad to say, but I think it's just self-evidently true at this point. We do have to hit this break. More news and views in the afternoon. Well, after this.
Want to carry News Talk in your pocket? Download the News Talk 93.1 app from the App Store. Available on iPhone and Android. Never miss a moment. Download now.
Hey, it's Lyle from Marguerite's. We all want to wish you a wonderful, happy new year, 2024. We're building all new, beautiful jewelry for you. Of course, we remake things. If you have anything sitting around, bring it in. Let's see what we can do with it. Marguerite's is full service. We have the best jewelers around. We have the best gift wrappers around. We have the best merchandise around. We have the best pricing around. We have the best quality around. But I'm not bragging. We're darn good, though. Come in and see us at Marguerite's. We really appreciate it. Looking forward to a great 2024.
Hey there, River Region area. Dawson Electric hopes you had an amazing Christmas and a fantastic New Year. As we step into 2024, it's time to tackle those resolutions and make sure your home or business is in tip-top shape. And for all your electrical needs, there's one name you can trust, Dawson Electric. Whether you're planning a remodel, constructing a new home, or require service for your existing electrical systems, Dawson Electric has got you covered. Need emergency generators installed? Looking to enhance your outdoor space with stunning landscape lighting? Dawson Electric is the answer. We do it all for homes and commercial spaces alike. For more information, you can find us on Facebook. Search for Dawson Electric Company, LLC. Hit the like button and stay connected with us. We're happy to speak with you at any time. Just call 334-270-8024. Say it with me. That's 334-270-8024. For all your electrical service needs for home or business, call us at Dawson Electric. Dawson Electric, lighting up your world.
Are you tired of the mainstream media's biased reporting? Do you want to stay informed on the news that really matters to you? Look no further than 1819 News. At 1819 News, we bring you the latest in Alabama news, politics, sports, culture, and more. We've assembled a team of journalists with Alabama values dedicated to the truth and the truth alone. Visit us at 1819news.com today. That's 1819news.com. Subscribe to our newsletter. Honest News, Alabama Values.
Conservative Justice Sarah Stewart has the experience to lead Alabama's courts. As a tough-on-crime judge, Sarah Stewart presided over hundreds of cases, giving tough sentences to the worst criminals. Republicans can trust Justice Sarah Stewart to defend the Constitution and protect our families. On March 5th, vote conservative Republican Sarah Stewart for Alabama Chief Justice. Paid for by Sarah Stewart Campaign, 2029B, Airport Boulevard, Mobile, Alabama, 36606.
This is your roving reporter, and today I am talking with an elk.
Hey man.
Mr. Elk, I was just wondering, what do elk do to take care of their money?
Well, like most smart folks, we call David Erdit.
You mean Alabama's most favorite asset preservationist?
That's him, man. We call him up at 334-279-7431 or 205-479-0839.
I see.
Yes, he is our preferred money man.
The money man with the money plan.
You've been paying attention.
Well, could you give us those numbers one more time?
334-279-7431 or 205-479-0839. And I just want to try to give you a heads up, man.
Oh, what's that?
I'm not an elk.
Not an elk, huh? Well, then, pray tell, what are you?
Knights of Columbus.
I am not even going to make a comment.
Well, the baby liked it.
This is your Black Health 365 moment. April is National Stress Awareness Month, a time to learn more about the negative impact of stress. There is no single definition for stress, but the most common explanation is physical, mental, or emotional strain or tension. Long-term stress can have harmful impacts on physical and mental health. Talk to a professional so that you can familiarize yourself with ways to manage your stress. This has been your Black Health 365 moment, because a healthy lifestyle is a daily choice.
I wanted to know why some people who get COVID-19 get it so bad. I found out it may be because they have a high risk factor, such as heart disease, diabetes, being overweight, smoking, and asthma. Even if symptoms feel mild, these factors can increase your risk of COVID-19 turning severe. So if you're at high risk and test positive, there are things you can do, like asking your healthcare provider if an authorized oral treatment is right for you. Learn about an option at treatcovid19.com. This message is sponsored by Pfizer.
This hour of news and views is brought to you by our good friends at Alabama Home Mortgage. Alabama Home Mortgage, 567-4223. Visit them on the web at myalabamahomemortgage.com. NMLS number 1586368. An equal housing lender.
Weather is brought to you by the Johnny Adams Law Firm.
I'm Johnny Adams, your Alabama personal injury attorney with the Johnny Adams Law Firm. Stay weather alert all day long with the Rich Thomas Weather Network.
Hi, everybody. Not a bad forecast as we get ready to end the month of January and start February. Today, sunshine will be near the normal high of 61. Tonight, mostly clear, chilly, overnight low 40. Tomorrow, a little cooler and breezy, too, with a high of 57. Sunshine. I think we'll see another freeze on Wednesday night. Upper 50s Thursday, mid-60s on Friday and Saturday. More sun and dry through Saturday. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
John Bobo with Capital Tractor. Together we have hauled it, lifted it, dug it, and mowed it. Season after season, to every customer who has walked through our doors, thank you for trusting Capital Tractor and Kubota. Kubota and Capital Tractor, Montgomery, Brundage, and Greenville.
News and talk without the static. The River Region's most trusted voice. News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back to News and Views in the afternoon. 272-9228 if you want to get in on the conversation. 272-9228. Plenty coming up. In particular, Elon Musk announced first successful Neuralink chip. It's going to be called telepathy, and it is going to be first used for paralyzed people to be able to control and essentially talk. You know, Stephen Hawking was a robot voice. Like, you wouldn't have to type anything in. The chip would interact with a phone or a computer direct, and you could literally talk as you're thinking, which would be amazing for somebody who's lost those capabilities. And that was always the initial promise of these Neuralink systems. But Musk says that's, we got one. We're ready to go with it. We'll see how that plays out. There's also now a great write-up called Inside America's COVID Lab, Deadly Viruses Manipulated in Wuhan-Style Experiments. You know, I thought gain of function was out of this country, but, well, it's still around, apparently. You got to wonder how much is sitting, waiting to be activated, whether it's viruses or men or whatever, in this country. Before we keep going with those stories and more, let's go to line one. You're on the air. Who's this?
Good afternoon.
Hey, Tootie. How you doing?
Good. I heard Red Top mentioned that he missed most of the judge. I heard a little bit of it, and it kind of raised my PTSD level a little bit when he was talking about Vietnam and how divisive and all. But, you know, it's 56 years ago Saturday that I got on a plane in Dong Ha, went to Chu Lai, and in Cam Ranh Bay, and ended up at McCord Air Base, January 28th, 1968. I got home. And, you know, as we look at this mess that we're in over there in the Middle East right now, after those SEALs and all these young people that are dying, I got an idea. And we need some politicians that will embrace this, and we can change stuff. We did stop that war, and America lost its innocence after the Kent State thing, and the CIA has been managing us ever since then. But I think what we need to do, since the military and industrial complex, as Eisenhower called it, they're locked in with whoever's in office, because what Biden is doing is basically he's been looking for a Gulf of Tonkin, a Pearl Harbor, a 911. I mean, just think about it. And, you know, he no telling how much money is going to be made by those three people that were killed over there. I thought I heard you say that he's already made a decision to go in there.
Yes, it hasn't been nothing necessarily has hit the wire in terms of actual strikes conducted, but they've already made a decision apparently. Yeah,
I was at Mardi Gras in 1979 when they canceled the Mardi Gras, and about the same time, the Iranians took the hostages. I have pictures of Canal Place where the Bank of Iran had financed everything but the Hilton Hotel, that whole pocket going up to Like Steamworks at the end of Canal Street was financed by the Bank of Iran. And this is what the Ayatollah and those mullahs wanted. They wanted their money back. You know, the Shah brought it all over here and, you know, the rest of it. But my idea is, instead of them taking money from us, Senator Days has brought up something this morning about the VA hospitals and how old they were, and about his father passing away in one. I have relatives, same thing. But we need to, some of these corporations like Bezos, you know, and just they don't pay taxes. Let them finance the Veterans Administration and take care of these kids that go over there and lose limbs and get wounded and maimed for life, so they can maintain their profit and bottom lines in the oil fields and all the other things that we create these wars for. Let those people pay for the Veterans Administration and give the taxpayers a break, because they are basically working for them. They like to throw this around, protecting our freedoms.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what freedom were we protecting in Vietnam?
Right.
You know, and I'm saying that as a Vietnam veteran.
Right.
And I challenge anybody that was over there, whether you're out at Maxwell or whatever, to sit down and let's talk about it. And, you know, I'll win, because we are backing a losing effort. We are too smart. We've come too far to be doing what we're doing on this planet right now, period. And that's killing each other. It doesn't make any sense.
And I think it's about to blow up in our face
we would just,
in a big way.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's about to blow up in our face in a big way. Most of the wars
crazy.
and
Joey, it's just absolutely crazy.
And
Johnson, he took the easy way out. The judge didn't say this, but Johnson also said that he would never use the American flag for a blanket for his policies in Southeast Asia. And then he said, I shall not seek and I will not run. I had just got home. I watched My Lai. I used to not even want people to know I was over there, the way that they talked about Vietnam and the veterans and all that. Nobody spit on me because I would have took their head off. But it wasn't a pretty time. It wasn't a nice time. Anyway, thanks for taking my call.
Appreciate the call, too. Really do. 272-9228. This part of the program brought to you by Alabama Home Mortgage. And they're at Alabama Home Mortgage. Kim Williams and her team, well, they're ready to help you. It could be you're buying a home, especially if you're a first-time home buyer. I can think of nobody better than Kim and Madeline. They're at Alabama Home Mortgage to help you out. from pre-approval all the way to closing day and every step of the way in between. And, of course, at Alabama Home Mortgage, they can also help you with a great refinance deal, especially you veterans out there. They're VA Home Loan certified there at Alabama Home Mortgage, so they can get you the best possible deal, whether you're buying or refinancing. And right now they have a special thing going on where they have not just a cash-out refinance. That's a common way people consolidate debt, get out from under credit card debt, or reinvest in their property or their family. But they can now do a rate refinance on student loans. So if you're interested in getting rid of those student loans with a refinance deal, if you have equity built up in your home, call up Alabama Home Mortgage today. That's 567-4223, 567-4223. You can always visit them on the web at myalabamahomemortgage.com. There is a difference in mortgage companies. Like Kim and Madeline prove that to you today. NMLS number 1586368, an equal housing lender. Let's go to line 1. You're on the air. Who's this? All right, then. Thank you for the call. How about this? Let's hit a break, folks. Hopefully be right back with Michael Cohen of Cohen's Electronics and Appliances.
He may not know whether he's coming or going, but whether you're going to work or coming home, Greg Budell is there. Mornings, 6 till 9, and afternoons, 3 till 6. Only on News Talk 93.1 FM, WACV.
Don't you love the feeling of coming home to a clean house? Let Southern Bell's Cleaning Service get your home in order. Families in the River region trust Southern Bells because they know Callan and Jesse will show up on time and believe in cleaning the old-fashioned way. They bring all their own supplies and specialize in full-service, residential, commercial, vacant properties, and construction cleanup. Estimates are always free. Call Southern Bells today at 546-0715 or follow them on Facebook at Southern Bells Cleaning River Region.
This hour of News and Views is brought to you by our good friends at Alabama Home Mortgage. Alabama Home Mortgage, 567-4223. Visit them on the web at myalabamahomemortgage.com. NMLS number 1586368. An equal housing lender.
The River Region's first and only news talk station on FM. Live, local talk. News Talk 93.1 FM, WACV.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back to News and Views in the afternoon. Now, folks, as promised, we have on the phone lines Michael Cohen of Cohen's Electronics and Appliances. Michael, how you doing this afternoon?
I'm doing great. How are y'all?
I'm doing quite well. We're powering through. The news is miserable, but I'm doing great. Now,
kind of been miserable for the last couple of years.
Yeah, it's starting to. Is that what it's called, the trend? I think.
Yes, it started a little after January 6th.
Yeah. Well, hey, maybe we can cheer folks up talking about one of the biggest purchases a person can make is, in terms of appliances, is say washer dryer system, and in particular, y'all have the Speed Queen products there?
That's right, Speed Queen. They make probably 4 models of washers and dryers, and each time you move up the food chain, you get 2 years better warranty. So you start with a 3-year warranty, you can get a 5-year warranty or a 7-year warranty. They have a really cool model that you can actually open it before it quits spinning. It doesn't have all the government brakes on it. And I'm sure the government's going to clamp down on them and make them put that BS on there. But, it's an American company. They've been in business for about 114 years. They use so much metal when they build their unit as opposed to all the other manufacturers that use a lot of plastic. So it's built better to start with. Everything has got more metal in it. It's got less parts in it, so there's less things to go wrong. And they just build it like they used to do in 1980. I mean, it's built like a tank. Looks like a tank. But they do a phenomenal job as far as washing and as far as reliability.
Well, and I love hearing that because that's just unfortunately a common thing in the world today where things aren't built to last. But it sounds like with the Speed Queen, that's exactly what's going on here. It's built to last.
Well, you look at so many things on the market, and everything is so full of technology.
Right.
And it's kind of like it's over-engineered. And it's, my dad used to preach about the KISS keep it simple, stupid. And if these people would keep it more simple and not over-engineer it, you know, the whirlpools and everybody else would last longer if they did that.
Well, if folks want to find out more about these great products, look at them themselves. They can always call you, I'd imagine, at 277-8890. But the best way, folks, is go by, see Michael, the team there at Cohen's in person, 2515 Eastern Boulevard. Y'all open 9 to 6 today. I think that's Monday through Friday. Open on Saturdays.
That's right. 9 to 4 on Saturdays. And, you know, just come by and take a look at them. Ask us a bunch of questions. Let us ask you some questions. And let us try to help steer you to the right model for your needs.
Well, I appreciate your time as always, Michael. We'll talk again tomorrow. Thank you, sir.
Take care.
Again, Michael Cohen of Cohen's Electronics and Appliances. Be sure to tell him you heard Michael here on the radio with that Joey fella. You know, with the conversation about Vietnam, and there was no political decision-making being done when it came to, you know, how to use the troops in that era, right? Right? Well, I mean, if you suggest that the U.S. government would use its military in a political way, that a president would consider the polls, well, that's just offensive. And don't take it from me. Listen to the White House press, Pentagon press secretary, the guy who's like right out of central casting for Orwell's 1984, John Kirby, former admiral. He is going to remind us of how offensive it is to suggest that political people, political animals are political when it comes to military matters.
The president was sent a letter on Friday from a bipartisan group of lawmakers, and he had been accused of unauthorized strikes against the Houthis by bypassing Congress. They said no president, regardless of political party, has the constitutional authority to bypass Congress on matters of war. Do you think that that would apply here, given this escalation?
We're not at war with the Houthis. We're not looking for a war with Iran. The president is comfortable that he has the appropriate legal authorities to act in self-defense of our ships, our sailors, and our troops in our facilities at sea or ashore.
Right. Isn't it time to involve the American people? I mean, given the fact that the American people were not happy about,
I suspect the American people are not happy about attacks on commercial shipping in the Red Sea. I also suspect they're not happy about seeing American troops killed at a base in Jordan. The president has the authority to defend those troops in those facilities, and he'll do that.
He's weighing all of his options. This is an election year. Is the president looking at his polling when he's weighing all of these options? Is the president looking at what?
My goodness. That's a heck of a question. He's not looking, ma'am, let me just stop you right there. The Commander-in-Chief is not looking at polling or considering the electoral calendar when he's defending.
How they feel about the war on Gaza?
Oh, now can I answer the question? He's not looking at political calculations or the polling or the electoral calendar as he works to protect our troops ashore and our ships at sea. And any suggestion to the contrary is offensive.
You're a straight up effing liar. That guy right there, John Kirby. Oh, that we don't take into political considerations. We don't take into to factor in the election calendar. Everybody on earth running a government takes into consideration the U.S. election calendar. John, Admiral Kirby. And no, all those guys at the West Wing are paid way too much money to do whatever the heck it is they do. They wouldn't look at the polling as we head into an election year. Presidents wouldn't drop bombs for political reasons. How offensive. You're a liar. And you appeal to the little bit of trust that still exists in this country and a little bit of respect that still exists for your institution, Mr. Kirby. And you're wearing it thin by the day. Well, we wouldn't do that. So, okay, let's not pay attention to the American people's opinion on foreign policy. I guess there's nothing new there. Been doing that for 20, 30 years. They kind of treat the American people, it's like, this isn't a little old school. I'm not trying to go Rat Pack, Frank Sinatra, blue eyes on folks. But the public is a woman. You don't do what she tells you she wants. You do what you think she actually needs. Ooh, that is a bit of a dated analogy. But I think it's how our U.S. government operates, despite all their progressive virtue signaling. Frickin' liar John Kirby is. Of course there are political considerations. Or else you wouldn't see what we're seeing right now, folks. All of this was due to political considerations. Removing the sanctions off Iran. Throwing more money, weapons and material into Ukraine. Well, these aren't political matters. They're inherently political matters, yet ever-loving jackass. Oh, we're above politics. No, you're the tip of the spear of a corrupt political system at this point, Mr. Kirby. Admiral Kirby, excuse me. And I guess the American people are only to be advised and listened to when it comes close to an election. But then we won't listen to them anyway because we just know what's right in terms of... Just get out of my face, John. Final hour of news and views coming up.
Broadcasting from the Riverside Chevrolet Master Control Center, this is WACV Cusana, News Talk 93.1 FM. When it's Chevy, it's Riverside.
I'm John Scott. President Biden says he's decided how to respond to a drone attack that killed U.S. soldiers in Jordan and injured dozens. He did not reveal what his plans are, but has been consulting with his national security team over the past few days. House Republicans have taken a key vote toward impeaching Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas over what they call his willful and systematic refusal to enforce immigration laws. The committee will now send articles of impeachment against Mayorkas. They will send those to the full House. And the Federal Reserve is beginning its latest policy meeting on interest rates. And Wall Street hope is that it will hit at a rate coming at least in March. On Wall Street, the Dow had 115 points, but the Nasdaq is down 111. This is SRN News.
Urgent Camp Lejeune settlement message. On September 6th, the government announced it will soon begin providing fast, guaranteed settlements to Camp Lejeune Marines, families, and civilians. Awards will range between $100,000 and $550,000, with an option for higher amounts. If you or a loved one spent time at Camp Lejeune and suffered cancers of the bladder, liver, or kidneys, leukemia, non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, Parkinson's, or kidney issues, you may qualify for compensation and could be paid within 60 days after accepting your settlement, with your VA benefits fully protected. You may be entitled to a significant financial award for your Camp Lejeune claim, but you must act now. Call the James Harris Law Camp Lejeune helpline now to get the compensation you deserve. We're already fighting for thousands harmed by the water at Camp Lejeune. Call now or you may forever lose your right to be awarded a settlement between $100,000 and $550,000. For your free evaluation, call 800-320-7171. That's 800-320-7171. 800-320-7171.
Rich Thomas weather brought to you by Wiley Sanders Truck Lines. Truckers, if you are looking for green grass, contact Wiley Sanders Truck Lines. In business since 1959 and still growing. Call today, 855-777-9785.
Rich Thomas weather. Hi, everybody. Not a bad forecast as we get ready to end the month of January and start February. Today, sunshine will be near the normal high of 61. Tonight, mostly clear, chilly, overnight low 40. Tomorrow, a little cooler and breezy, too, with a high of 57. Sunshine. I think we'll see another freeze on Wednesday night. Upper 50s Thursday, mid-60s on Friday and Saturday. More sun and dry through Saturday. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
For the lowest prices around on flooring and DIY flooring installation supplies, Budget Floors and More is your new best friend. Luxury vinyl plank, carpet, ceramic tile, floor installation supplies, and more with prices lower than the big box stores. Budget Floors and More, Hunter Lane across from Del Rey Publix.
1819 News.
A crash in Limestone County of a Greyhound bus and a car has now killed one person and injured 8 others. 2 people had to be air flighted to a Huntsville hospital. The identity of the one fatality is that of 23-year-old Sidney Benson of Ardmore. The car that Benson was driving was hit by the Greyhound bus. The bus ended up leaving the road and overturning. The crash occurred on Alabama Highway 53. I'll be back with more Alabama stories after this.
Are you enjoying 1819 News? If so, consider joining 1819 News as a member. As a nonprofit news organization, we depend on the support of Alabamians like you. Memberships start out as little as $5 a month, and you'll get access to exclusive content only offered to our members. You'll be supporting independent journalism done by people who cherish Alabama values. Become a member today by visiting 1819news.com and clicking Become a Member. That's 1819news.com and click Become a Member today.
A jury in Mobile has now seen police body camera video involving the 2019 shooting death of police officer Sean Tudor. Marco Perez is currently under trial for the murder of Tudor at an apartment complex. Tudor was working undercover for the Mobile Gang Task Force. Tudor had been searching for Perez for quite some time and caught up with him at the Peach Place Apartments when the shooting occurred. 3 other officers were also working this case, not realizing that Tudor was already there. The jury saw video of officers trying to save Tudor when they found him lying in a pool of blood on the sidewalk. Police have now caught up with the suspect who stole a patrol car in St. Clair County. The suspect crashed that patrol car into the back end of a pickup truck along Interstate 20. He then ditched the car and ran away from the scene. 42-year-old Anthony Marzanell was taken into custody sometime later. He's being held without bond and a probation revocation. The patrol car was stolen from a deputy's home on Monday morning. I'm Andrea Tice.
For more news affecting Alabamians, go to 1819news.com. And while you're there, subscribe to the daily newsletter.
This hour of News and Views is brought to you by our good friends at Cole Plumbing, 279-8919. Cole Plumbing is number 1 in the number 2 business. You don't have to dig a hole. They have proprietary pipelining technology. Ask them about their tankless water heaters. Remember, when you have trouble with your bowl, call on Cole.
Hi, this is Bo Goodson from the Goodson Group. Have you ever considered turning your home into a rental and build wealth at the same time? People throughout the river region are doing that right now. By investing wisely in the right property or turning your current home into a rental is the secret. Hiring a property manager to professionally manage your property is the way to prosperity. Our company does all of the advertising, personally showing prospective tenants, does a thorough background check and credit report before moving forward. Over 15 critical services are provided to our clients in protecting the asset, but also providing the best residence in your home possible. Collecting rent on time and frequent inspections help landlords feel better about renting their house, and to provide clean, well-kept homes that anybody would be proud to call home. For a complete list of property management services, call Bo Goodson at the Goodson Group at 221-2883 or 551-0225.
The views and opinions of the following program are solely those of the host and other contributors. These do not necessarily represent those of Liberty Acquisitions 825, Blue Water Broadcasting, its management, staff, or any advertisers. It's time for Montgomery's conversational radio show. It's News and Views on News Talk 93.1 FM. To join the conversation, call 272-9228.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back to it. I'm Joey, flying solo today. Though I appreciate my silent partner here today in the studio with me, Mark, hanging out. Always good to have a live audience here. And we've got a few calls rolling in. Let's go right to Skeeter. He's up first. Hey, Skeeter.
Am I on?
Yes, sir.
All right, I just got a few things to add with you. I knew these people were evil the day Trump came down the elevator. They hate that man because he's a businessman. He's not one of their deep swamp people, and he don't care about them. But they started that Russia thing, and the day I seen Nancy Pelosi tear up that speech behind him when he was speaking to the House or whatever, I knew they were evil. And then when Schumer got on the steps of whatever, the Capitol, and threatened the Supreme Court, I knew they were evil. There's one thing I want to say. I don't know where I heard this, but they say an evil man will burn his country to the ground to rule over the ashes. And I think that's just what they're trying to do.
Well said. I don't know where that's from either, but it's damn good, and I appreciate it, Skeeter.
All right, have a good one, man.
You too. Well, damn good line. Bit depressing content there, an idea to entertain, but hey, such is life. Let's go to Joe. Hey, Joe.
Yeah, this Iranian situation that the U.S. is fixing to get involved with.
Right.
Where is the global community? Where is the European Union? Where is NATO? Where is the UN? Where is the world elite? Where is Germany? Where are all these people? They want this conflict because they want world domination. But they're going to throw us under the bus, take our money, influence our politics, influence our economy, pull the string on our puppet leaders. This is a setup. I mean, it's not going to go well for the U.S.
Yeah, and I was hinting at earlier that, the wars the U.S. has been fighting recently, you haven't had full-scale, say, nation-states ready to go. We haven't been fighting people with air support and with, say, surveillance from orbit.
The UN's not supporting us.
Right.
Nobody. But they'll take our money and influence our country.
Right. And you better believe Russia is not going to stand by. The Chinese ain't going to stand by.
No, they're allies of Iran.
Right.
Of course, Russia's preoccupied, but watch out for China. China's an ally of Iran, too.
Yep. Exactly right. And you're right. I think we're walking into disaster. And, maybe they know something we don't know, but from where I'm sitting, this just looks bonkers. Like we're sleepwalking into a world war.
Right. Yes, we've got a problem.
Yeah.
We got a problem.
Well, I appreciate the call, Joe. Really do.
Okay, thank you.
272-9228. One thing I got talking about and thinking about over the weekend is the idea of citizenship. And it may be, take a step back. But does that word mean a daggum thing anymore? Mean a damn thing anymore? Pardon me. And like I've been saying in earlier shows, honestly, when the world has gone mad and when you yourself feel like you can't get your bearings, like you've got some sort of vertigo, not literally speaking, but of making sense of the world, like a vertigo of meaning, teeter-totter in every which way, the one thing that seems to still make sense, at least get your head to start thinking in the right direction, are the scriptures. And that's how I start off. My op-ed came out this morning for 1819 News. From Acts. Quote, as they stretched him out to flog him, Paul said to the centurion standing there, is it legal for you to flog a Roman citizen who hasn't even been found guilty? When the centurion heard this, he went to the commander and reported it. What are you going to do? He asked. This man is a Roman citizen. The commander went to Paul and asked, tell me, are you a Roman citizen? Yes, I am, he answered. Then the commander said, I had to pay a lot of money for my citizenship, but I was born a citizen, Paul replied. Those who were about to interrogate him withdrew immediately. The commander himself was alarmed when he realized he had put Paul, a Roman citizen, in chains. Were American citizens as free and independent as their nation's professed ideals, it would not be difficult to convince them of a self-evident truth, that the United States government today is morally and constitutionally illegitimate. Americans live under a post-constitutional government, retired Army Colonel Douglas McGregor recently suggested. This thought was echoed in Judge Napolitano's recent lament. Quote, what if the government the Founding Fathers gave us needed our permission to do nearly everything? What if today we need the government's permission to do nearly everything? Unfortunately, U.S. citizenship in modern America means neither freedom nor independence, but dependency and domination. The American citizen is saddled by a system he did not build, managed by a ruling class he did not elect, and remains hopelessly dependent on both. If you could design your institution from the ground up, starting from day zero with first principles, would you design it the same way it works today? If you pose this question to any American, especially any true professional who works in some major institution of the United States, from healthcare to the banking system or even the Pentagon, almost everyone would answer no. But don't slay my sacred cow. I have kids to feed and a mortgage to pay. America doesn't have citizens anymore. Instead, she has credit card consumers trained to binge on bread and circuses. She has passive, mail-ordered voters with the feckless freedom, so-called, to choose elected leaders nearly just as feckless. She has taxpayers on the hook for sums of tribute and seigniorage not even Caesar would have dreamed of demanding. Taxpayer, voter, consumer. None of these terms are truly synonymous with citizen. Yet, despite its morally bereft and constitutionally dubious status, the United States federal government does maintain a grip on effective legitimacy due to its sheer inertia, power, and scope to control and destroy lives. And I don't just mean missiles or men with guns, but the power to destroy reputations and livelihoods. The current regime relies much more on deception than violence. It may be wise for a ruler to be both feared and loved, but fear wrapped in lies can suffice in a crisis. Often this process of dominating the citizenry is not carried out by official government institutions, but through informal power centers, such as the corporate press room, the HR department, and professional licensing boards. The managerial elite have indeed found many ingenious ways to corral the population, making a mockery of the very concept of citizenship. To be a citizen means you are not a serf. To be a citizen means you're not a subject. To be a citizen means you're not a slave. To be a citizen of the United States means you are not chatteled to be fleeced and milked like a replaceable commodity. To be an American citizen means having innate, God-given natural rights pre-existing any man-made government. That is the American idea of citizenship. Yet that tradition of citizenship, an idea as old as the crossroads of Rome and Christ, seems to have been almost forgotten by the people of America today. In a 2017 poll taken by the University of Pennsylvania's Annenberg Public Policy Center, most Americans appeared ignorant of the fundamentals of the U.S. Constitution, writes Victor Davis Hanson in his 2021 book, The Dying Citizen, How Progressive Elites, Tribalism, and Globalization Are Destroying the Idea of America. 37% could not name a single right protected by the First Amendment. Only 1 out of 4 Americans can name all 3 branches of government. 1 in 3 could not name any branch of government. In a 2018 survey conducted by the Woodrow Wilson National Fellowship Foundation, almost 75% of those polled were not able to identify the 13 original colonies. Over half had no idea whom the United States fought in World War II. Less than 25% knew why colonists had fought the Revolutionary War. 12% thought Dwight D. Eisenhower commanded troops in the Civil War. Indeed, only when the American people begin to remember their birthright, that they are free citizens with God-given rights and duties, will there be any chance for the flogging to stop. Then, maybe, those who have draped the American citizen in chains for so long will be reminded of what it means when freemen, denied their liberty on earth, make an appeal to heaven. We'll be right back.
Want to carry News Talk in your pocket? Download the News Talk 93.1 app from the App Store. Available on iPhone and Android. Never miss a moment. Download now.
Miss Dot at the Eastbrook Flea Market and Antique Mall, and Dot, we're ready to roll into a new year.
Happy New Year.
Tell me what's going on here at Eastbrook Flea Market and Antique Mall.
The booths are being restocked. The hot cider is going. The rocking chairs are here. And there are great sales going on in some of the booths. Really and truly, there's some neat stuff around here. You need to come in and see it.
Shouldn't people plan to come maybe spend some time and find all the treasures here at Eastbrook?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we've got some that come in and spend their lunch hour, and they bring their lunch and eat as they shop around, and which is fine with me. But then some come and spend the whole day, And I just love that.
Do you have any events coming up soon?
Anniversary sale will be here in February. Don't know the exact date yet, but listen for the ad. Come shop that day because it'll be a great event.
All right, Doc, give us the hours of operation.
Monday through Friday, 10 until 6. Saturday, 9 until 6. Sunday is 12:30 to 4:30.
That's the Eastbrook Flea Market and Antique Mall, 425 Coliseum Boulevard.
CB&S Bank has digital banking solutions to help you keep up. Check balances, pay bills, and much more. Learn more at cbsbank.com. Charges and fees may apply from your cellular service provider. Contact your service provider for information. Member FDIC.
For too long, Alabama's statewide news companies have shamed us for our conservative Christian values. Alabama deserves a news company that cherishes our culture, a company that isn't bought and paid for by the powers that be. 1819 News is that company. Run by Alabamians for Alabamians, 1819 News celebrates what is good and beautiful about our state while exposing those who work against our values in secret. Just go to 1819news.com to learn more. Subscribe to our newsletter. That's 1819news.com. This hour of News and Views is brought to you by our good friends at Cole Plumbing, 279-8919. Cole Plumbing is number one in the number two business. You don't have to dig a hole. They have proprietary pipelining technology. Ask them about their tankless water heaters. Remember, when you have trouble with your bowl, call on Cole.
Live, local talk. The River Region's most trusted voice for news and opinion. News Talk 93.1 FM, WACV.
How you conduct yourself in a democracy?
Joey Clark.
Welcome back. Now let's go back in time to a time not that long ago. This is all the way back in 2020. You remember that year. How could you forget it? Maybe you want to forget it, but no, it seems to stick with you. Here is Joseph Robinette Biden Jr. talking about Donald Trump and how the walls are closing in, man. Not a joke. Let's listen to what old Sloppy Joe had to say back in 2020.
The world has changed because of what Trump has done. And the American people, including independents and some Republicans, know how bad he is, know how much he's misrepresented, know how he's getting close to getting us in a war. I said, as the walls close in on this man, I'm worried he's going to get us to war in Iran. Unfortunately, I may have been right. The fact of the matter is there's a lot at stake in this.
Wait, so Trump, let me play that. Trump's going to get us in war with Iran?
To get us in a war. I said, as the walls close in on this man, I'm worried he's going to get us to war in Iran. Unfortunately, I may have been right.
Well, or Joe Biden foreshadows and foretells Joe Biden. Well, no, and this is the way to do it. Where if you are worried about Trump getting back in office and he's going to scuttle all your plans to engage in all these, wars, well, why not start the war before he gets back in? There's no way you can pull Americans out once we start this daggum thing. Again, 272-9228. If you want to get in on the program, that's 272-9228. Now, I mentioned this clip a little earlier in the show with Judge Andrew Napolitano. And this is a little bit, well, I'll just play it. This is E. Jean Carroll on with Rachel Maddow last night. And even the lawyers to her right and left seem to be, they're laughing. Oh, we're laughing. Jean, shut up. You're so funny. She's just joking here.
You've talked about using some of Trump's money that you're about to get to help shore up women's rights. Do you know what that might be, what that might look like?
Yes, Rachel. Yes.
Tell me.
I had such great ideas for all the good I'm going to do with this money. First thing, Rachel, you and I are going to go shopping. We're going to get completely new wardrobes, new shoes, motorcycle for Crowley, new fishing rod for Robbie. Rachel, what do you want? Penthouse? It's yours,
Nothing.
Rachel. Penthouse and France? You want France? You want to go fishing in France? No? Oh, all right.
France?
All right, okay.
That's a joke.
Although,
It's a joke. Yes. Yes, it is a joke. Now, going to a different topic here. It's amazing, but it's also a little unnerving. The Neuralink implants. These brain chips. But Neuralink implants brain chip in first human, Elon Musk says. Yes, the billionaire founder said on Monday that the first human patient received an implant from the brain chip startup on Sunday and is recovering well. Initial results show promising neuron spike detection, Musk said in a post on social media platform X. The U.S. Food and Drug Administration had given the company clearance last year to conduct its first trial to test its implants on humans. The first product from Neuralink would be called telepathy or telepathy. Go with telepathy. The startup's PRIME study is a trial for its wireless brain-computer interface to evaluate the safety of the implant and surgical robot. The study will assess the functionality of the interface, which enables people who are paralyzed or quadriplegics, especially paralysis of all four limbs, to control devices with their thoughts, according to the company's website. Neuralink opened the study trial for recruitment last September. The startup did not immediately respond to a request for further details, but Neuralink has faced calls for scrutiny regarding its safety protocols in the past. Fined by the U.S. Department of Transportation regarding the movement of hazardous materials. Last November, 4 U.S. lawmakers asked the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission to investigate whether Elon Musk committed securities fraud by allegedly misleading investors about the safety of a brain implant being developed by Neuralink. Yes, because the government's really keeping us safe. It's not about, using everything at their disposal to take out a man who's very, very inconvenient. Talk about a gadfly. If they could, they'd make him drink hemlock like Socrates. Socrates. Telepathy? Telepath? According to data company PitchBook, last year, California-based Neuralink had more than 400 employees, has raised at least $363 million. Though he wins most of the headlines, Musk is hardly alone in trying to make advances in the field, which is officially known as brain-machine or brain-computer interface research. But apparently the first chip has been installed. And the first use case, what they're talking about is someone who's completely paralyzed. That could be a remarkable breakthrough. But then you also hear Musk talking about how, you have your lower brain, then your frontal cortex. It'd almost be like a third layer you could put on top, where it's more the collective, which is like, I don't want to be a Borg or be part of the Borg collective. No, thank you, Elon. I don't want to be part of your matrix that you're building in that regard. And, when you see these breakthroughs in technology, when you see war impending, and of course we're not making political decisions, it has nothing to do with the voters. I mean, the voters are very important and democracy is very important, but we don't actually consult the citizens of this country when it comes to war. What are you talking about? We don't look at electoral calendars. Yes, you do. Everybody knows it. China knows it. Russia knows it. The drug cartels certainly know it. Everybody knows that if you can game the calendar, this goes on. But all this going on, technological innovation that's upheaving the world. War breaking out all over the world. An economy that's doing well, but actually, on hindsight, let's look back at last month. We thought it was great, but now it's not doing so well. Well, a lot of folks might describe what we're currently seeing as chaos. And yet the chaos label is constantly thrown at Trump. Trump is the lodestar we all must talk about. He's the center of our political universe. But if you think Trump is a risk to the world because of all his chaos, you have been brainwashed by professionals. Chaos is an engineered attack against Trump by someone with training and persuasion, similar to Dark. Remember how they called him the Dark candidate or as a dark speech all throughout 2016. Chaos is chosen to scare older voters. It is a catch-all for any future news. You could apply it to every story. The Clinton-Gore campaign used risky the same way. That word also came from a pro. Trump's economic policy, chaos. Trump's foreign policy, chaos. Trump's White House, chaos. Politics under Trump, chaos. The chaos is a frame assigned by the press. Trump served 4 years, and I can think of no problems caused by his chaos. You might not like his policies, but what problem did chaos cause? If anything, being unpredictable was an asset, exactly as Trump explained it would be. Don't trust any news story that includes chaos as a description for Trump. If they were being straight with you, the description would be something closer to energy. Well said. Let's go to line one. You're on there. Who's this?
Hey, Joey. Hey, I just want to say your montage was fantastic. Fantastic. I do listen to other news, though, at the same time. And Cori Bush.
Yeah, she's being investigated because she misused funds.
That's right.
Yeah.
Oh, you may have hit it already. Yeah. And then, let's see, what about the representative that's married to her brother, and that's how they came here, or something like that?
Elon Omar,
Have
yeah.
we forgotten all that? Or am I wrong? Am I wrong? There's one of the squad.
Right. Elon Omar.
Okay, there you go. And anyway, that's the one I wanted to ask about. I can't believe I got on. Thank you so much. I love your show, and your montage was great. Hit it, baby.
Appreciate it. 272-9228. Even the town drunks like the show. 272-9228. Takes all types in this world, folks. Certainly takes all types. Before we hit this break, this part of the program brought to you by, again, Montgomery Men's Health. And men, two things start to happen as we get older, and sometimes even before we get older as men. Those two things, erectile dysfunction, that ain't fun. We're talking about, being premature, that ain't fun either. Or it could be a more general issue of low T, low testosterone. I know guys don't like going to the doctor, but don't put it off. Don't be ashamed about it. Don't deny it. Don't live in denial. Yeah, I know guys hate going to the doctor, but Montgomery Men's Health was created to take care of guys like us, because I hate going to the doctor too. So if you're lacking motivation, energy, you're always tired, perhaps you're seeing unwanted weight gain, loss of muscle mass, even a decrease in your sex drive, or maybe you feel like you're walking through life in a fog, knowing whether you have low testosterone is huge in combating some of these issues. Did you know that as you age, a testosterone PSA check should be part of your annual men's health routine? A urologist recently suggested that men should start getting their T checked even at the age of 18. I didn't know that. I didn't know all this until I talked to Montgomery Men's Health. A lot of guys suffer from low T, and sometimes they don't even realize it. But low T affects quality of life big time. So the providers at Montgomery Men's Health will conduct a testosterone-focused lab workup plus a consultation for only $99. You can actually book the same day that you call. And they have treatments there if you do, in fact, have low T that can truly change lives. Men can experience higher energy, better gains in the gym, brother. Better mental clarity, improved sleep patterns, a faster metabolism. You usually even notice an increased libido, and there ain't nothing wrong with that. So call them today, 440-3663. That's 440-3663. Or go to MontgomeryMen'sHealth.com to book your appointment today. And be sure to remind them that that Joey fella on the radio sent you. More news and views in the afternoon. Well, after this.
He may not know whether he's coming or going, but whether you're going to work or coming home, Greg Budell is there. Mornings 6 till 9 and afternoons 3 till 6. Only on News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Conservative Justice Sarah Stewart has the experience to lead Alabama's courts. As a tough-on-crime judge, Sarah Stewart presided over hundreds of cases, giving tough sentences to the worst criminals. Republicans can trust Justice Sarah Stewart to defend the Constitution and protect our families. On March 5th, vote conservative Republican Sarah Stewart for Alabama Chief Justice. Paid for by Sarah Stewart Campaign, 2029B, Airport Boulevard, Mobile, Alabama, 36606.
Make 2024 the year you break away from the chain stores and join us here at Adams Drugs. We value your business and want to provide you the best customer service at the lowest possible price. We've been serving up excellent customer service here in the River region for over 62 years.
I made the swap to Adams Drugs and I couldn't be happier. Having a job and then getting 3 kids to all of their activities keeps me busy. I don't have an hour to waste waiting on a prescription. At Adams, they know me and my family. I get in and out in minutes, and when I can't get by Adams, they'll bring the prescription right to my door.
What are you waiting for? Come in to Adams Drugs and let us earn your business. Our friendly and personal staff will talk with you and answer any questions you may have about your prescriptions. Your satisfaction is our #1 goal. Visit us at adamsdrugs.net for the location nearest to you. Adams Drugs is your local independent Health Mart pharmacy. Health Mart, taking the time to listen and care.
Hi, this is Carol Kennedy with Camo Country, and we've been advertising with Blue Water Broadcasting for many years, and we appreciate Blue Water Broadcasting helping promote Camo Country.
Radio works. It's as simple as that. Call us to find out how radio can work for your business. Blue Water Broadcasting. Local folks helping local business.
This hour of News and Views is brought to you by our good friends at Cole Plumbing, 279-8919. Cole Plumbing is #1 in the #2 business. You don't have to dig a hole. They have proprietary pipelining technology. Ask them about their tankless water heaters. Remember, when you have trouble with your bowl, call on Cole.
The Ridge Thomas Weather Network is brought to you by Alabama's personal injury attorney, me, Johnny Adams of the Johnny Adams Law Firm. Stay weather alert, everyone.
Hi, everybody. Not a bad forecast as we get ready to end the month of January and start February. Today, sunshine will be near the normal high of 61. Tonight, mostly clear, chilly, overnight low 40. Tomorrow, a little cooler and breezy, too, with a high of 57. Sunshine. I think we'll see another freeze on Wednesday night. Upper 50s Thursday, mid-60s on Friday and Saturday. More sun and dry through Saturday. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
At ASE Credit Union, financing your next adventure is easier than ever with rates as low as 5.25%. Apply online or visit your local branch today. Federally insured by the NCUA, Equal Opportunity Lender.
ASE Credit Union, your life, your goals, your ASE. The River Region's News Talk Station. News Talk 93.1, WACV. News Talk 93.1.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back to it. 272-9228 if you want to get in before we close up shop. That's 272-9228. We had some comments rolling in here. It's mostly been spam all day. I don't mean like spam accounts. I mean like diet spam. Though we did get one weird spam message. All right then, just spamming emojis our way. Did we talk about, Mark Cumby asked, the proposed gambling lottery bill? Not today, Mark, but we did when 1819's reporting first came out on all of that. And I'm sure we'll have more to discuss as the session gets going. What, next week? Yeah. Coming up soon. And right now, I would like to see the devil in the details, so to speak. In principle, it's not necessarily the worst idea that's been presented. But I would like to see the details of that rolled out before I'd put my name to it. You got to watch out with the gambling. The one thing I would like to see done in this legislative session, and done in a big way, is school choice. I think it's time for the state of Alabama to get that done, no matter what the current established interest in so-called education say otherwise. Time to get that done. You'll be rewarded, Governor Ivey. She knows that now. You'll be rewarded, Lieutenant Governor Ainsworth. All of y'all in the legislature will be rewarded if you actually take the plunge and give choice back to parents, empower parents to look after their kids. I think that is a good way to shake things up, because if anything, that's what we need, to shake things up when it comes to education in this state. Because right now, when you look at the scoring, when you look at just what now seem endemic generational problems when it comes to education in the state of Alabama, yeah, time for a change. And I think school choice, especially full-on education savings accounts that empower a parent with a certain amount of money to use on educational materials as they please, I think that should be the way to go. This idea that you have to have this little government-controlled monopoly, and that's the thing, public versus private. It's like, that's just a distinction that's not true anymore. Was it ever true? Like, often private interests and private businesses serve the public, and often the public interest, so-called, is used to line the private pockets of all sorts of folks. A lot of people are making a lot of private cheddar off the public interest. I'll just put it that way. Whole career is built off that. And not just like, oh, I make, $50 a year. I'm talking like upper middle class. They're doing all right sort of careers off the public dime, serving their own private interests. So I think the true distinction is, well, government monopoly or not, government run or not. And I would hope that we understand that you don't need the force of law in order to organize a good situation when it comes to schooling. So we'll see if the legislature can get all that done to a degree. Again, 272-9228. Now, you might have heard me mention earlier that the United States government is illegitimate, and I think morally and constitutionally that is the case. Go read the Constitution. Look at what we're doing in terms of war. Like, we pretend to follow it because a bunch of lawyers in black robes decided they knew what the law actually meant. We're a government of laws and not men. Okay, it seems very dependent on what men are sitting on what benches, what the law actually ends up being, especially how it's enforced per our earlier conversation. But this is a great write-up by a guy named Michael Snyder. He says, how does it feel to have the largest government that the planet has ever seen? When I was growing up, I was taught that we had a capitalist system and that we had a limited federal government. Of course, neither of those things has been true for a very long time. Today, the United States has the biggest government in the history of the world, and it gets even bigger with each passing year. Running that gigantic government requires more money than we actually have, so we are going into staggering amounts of debt. Let me give you some numbers that illustrate what I'm talking about. Approximately 3 million people work directly for the federal government. The federal government spends $6.13 trillion. It spent that in 2023. That figure is larger than the GDP of every nation on the entire planet except for the U.S. and China. More than 70 million Americans are on Social Security. More than 65 million Americans are on Medicare. More than 81 million Americans are on Medicaid. More than 41 million Americans are on food stamps. Of course, there are many more programs that hand out money to the population on a regular basis. We have reached a stage where most U.S. households are at least partially dependent on the federal government. We very much prefer not to call ourselves socialists, but that is precisely what we are. Sadly, if we attempted to go back to the way things were 100 years ago, most Americans would not know how to survive. The massively bloated federal government that so many of us depend upon constantly consumes enormous mountains of money. We cannot provide enough money to keep it going. And so the federal government has been piling up insane amounts of debt. Since 1980, the size of the U.S. national debt has gone from $1 trillion to $34 trillion. The combined wealth of Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, Mark Zuckerberg, Bill Gates, Ken Griffin, Mark Rubin, Ray Dalio, and George Soros would not be enough to even pay the interest on our national debt for a single year. We are now at a point where the national debt has become a major national crisis, and the percentage of Americans that believe our politicians should do something about this has been going up. According to 2023 Pew Research surveys, it found that 57% of Americans said reducing the budget deficit should be a top priority for the president of the Congress, up from 45% the year prior. However, as soon as you start to say, hey, let's cut something, all of a sudden those numbers seem to change. Again, is it too old-fashioned to suggest the public is a woman? Forget that I said that. But the politicians in Washington don't have the stomach to do anything about the wild spending. They know that if we tried to live within our means, it would instantly plunge the U.S. economy into a horrifying economic depression. And voters wouldn't like that at all. So instead, they're just going to try to keep the party going for as long as they can. In fact, the size of the federal deficit in December was 52% larger than for the same month a year earlier. America's empire of money really has reached the end game. Our debt spiral is out of control, our currency is rapidly losing value, and everyone can see that our entire system, well, it's not going in the right direction. But for the moment, the talking heads on TV continue to tell everyone that our leaders know exactly what they're doing, and millions of people still actually believe that nonsense. Yep. Like I've said before, I think we're a nation of addicts, and we're addicted to these systems, and especially that magical money printing machine. Don't even print money now, they're just digits. It's just zeros and ones on the computer. Let's go to line 1. You're on there. Who's this?
This is Duke.
Hey, Duke, how you doing?
How you doing, young man?
Good.
Now you know me and you done went on and on about this school choice stuff and all of that.
Yeah.
One question for you. Accountability. Are these schools going to provide? Are they going to be able to show accountability of what they're doing in these schools? Because I heard a case in Tennessee where they got this school choice deal. And this lady was talking about her school and that she's having to show accountability as all the other regular public schools showing accountability for this money or vouchers that they're receiving from the state. So with these people, are these schools have to show that, Mr. Joey?
Yeah, by design. I mean, who do you think has more accountability? If you're a parent and you walk in and you want a meeting with the principal because something going on in the school and your kid, who do you think you're going to get more of a reception from, a public institution or a private institution you're paying money to?
Right, but that's my point, though. If these private schools accept this money from the government, these vouchers or whatever, aren't they should be on the same scrutiny as the other people that's not participating in this school choice or charter or whatever? Regular public school kids, I guess I'm saying that, everybody talking about they're under the government thumb right now, okay? The regular people out there, the regular public school people, Prattville or, Vestavia or wherever you want to name the school. But if you give money to these private schools, and right now I can't pick one to say that it's rated high enough to send my child to, because there's no way to rank them from a 1 to 5 or 1 to 10. So help me out, Mr. Joe, on that.
Well, I think the standard would be your child's grades and your perception of how well they're actually engaging with the community you put them in. And this sort of money, these education savings accounts, wouldn't just be, say, traditional private schools like a Trinity MA or a Catholic. It would be also things like micro schools where it's a bunch of homeschool families going to work together. It could be homeschool curriculum. It could be all sorts of stuff.
Right, I understand that.
Well, and the accountability comes from the fact that they can't take your money at gunpoint, essentially. Like, if you don't want to give your money to those institutions, you don't have to. And that would, I think what it's going to do, it would create a lot more opportunity and innovation in the education space.
But my thing is, the state of Alabama, we already, like I say, we talked about this 500 times. 500 more times won't hurt. But we feel that we're at the bottom, okay? So she put emphasis on helping these people develop it, but forgetting about the ones she's talking about making repeat the 3rd grade. Why isn't her energy, the governor, I'm speaking to her right now, why isn't her energy toward fixing some of the public schools that, especially in rural
school
areas
choice is a fix of the public school system.
Well, you're missing the point, Joe, is that my point is, my whole argument about the whole thing is, I put somebody on the spot a couple weeks ago. I asked them to show me some the standards of some of the top private schools here in town versus the public schools. They named a few public schools that had high rankings, but they couldn't name one private school that, if I moved here from another state, that I would, be advised to send my child to this particular school. But
Wait, you're telling me the test scores at Trinity, St. James, MA, Catholic, they're not good?
Ain't no way, I want to say, ain't no way we hear people talk about how good they are, but I don't see any stats on any of these schools, how well they are doing, Joey. That's my whole argument.
Well, you can look at
public
ACT
schools.
scores. You can look at a number of people getting admitted into top colleges. You can look at how much people now, 10, 20 years after the school they went to, their earnings.
It depends on, what school they're going to and what kind of power the money parents got. Some of these kids.
Why do you
get
think
grades
people who
from
have the
Harvard.
money and the means are sending their kids to those private schools?
Well, if I would say it this way right here. If my child was in school right now, I'd probably send them to a different school or get them out the regular school, because everybody done picked and choose and got all the best students out of the regular public school by design, and leaving all the bad kids in there by design.
Yeah,
So,
but what do you mean
I'm
by
out right now.
what do we mean by the bad kids?
The bad kids are ones that belongs in the reformatory school somewhere, the kind of school we used to have back in the day. The hard-headed kids that wants to.
Oh, you mean the 18-year-olds that would shoot a 16-year-old and then
put 'em
drag
in
his body and dump it
somewhere.
off a highway? Okay,
Put them in,
yeah.
put them in separate school like we used to put them before you were born, Joe. You know nothing about that because you was a young baby back then. But
Don't talk to me about who's the baby. You're the baby.
But anyway, we can go on and on about this education thing, but I would love to see all of our kids educated, because I hate going into a restaurant where I give a young man or lady my money. I say the item is like $2.50, and he can't figure out, if I give him 50 cents, how to give me my change back. This guy went and got his calculator, and I told him, give me 50 cents back, sir. I mean, it's $2 back. But that threw him off when I gave him that change amount. So we need to educate all of our kids if we're gonna survive as a country and a nation.
I agree, but I'll put it to you this way, Duke. We've had the traditional public school system pretty much in effect for over a century, and the trend over a century has been downwards in terms of test scores, in terms of IQ tests, all sorts of stuff.
I'm gonna give you the charter school. I'm gonna give you the charter school in the school of choice. 5 years from now, you think Alabama would come off the bottom or move up a couple points?
I would make it more I'd make it more than 5 years, because kids spend more time than 5 years in school. But yeah,
So we'd be right
a 5,
there
10-year window, I think you would see improvement, yes.
So we'd be number 30-something or 40-something maybe? Well, how high we go up maybe?
I have no
That's
clue, dude.
60,
We might as well be number one. Let's show up those Puritans up in New England who's boss.
I mean, we can't let the what's that stuff? STB. We can't let that be the number one thing in Montgomery.
Oh, the STE. Yeah, we talked about that yesterday.
We can let that.
So I keep saying, keep your pants on.
I know they need to do that, but they need to teach these kids how to.
Well, but I'm not picking on you, Duke. Who needs to teach these kids?
You.
Me? Well, then we're definitely screwed.
Yeah, that was your age group. That was your age group, man. I beat the hell out of one up. See.
Yeah, but that's the thing. I don't think people are taking responsibility. If you have sex and you have a child and bring them into this world, I would think it would be your responsibility.
See, you believe in making them stand in the corners. I believe in knocking the hell out of them. See, there's a difference between me and you.
Oh, don't get me started, Duke. It starts with standing in the corner with that silly hat, and then it goes into dueling later. I appreciate it, man. I got to run. Let's go to line 3. You're on there. Who's this?
Hey, this is Brian Richardson. How are you doing?
Doing great. How are you, Brian?
Not bad at all. So, I firmly believe in, if you want to pay your kid, pay for your kid to go to a private school, I think that's one of the better things out of regular school, because out of regular school, they're doing the bare minimum and sometimes kind of going backwards with this education system. And they're relying on other people's money to educate their own kids. So when you do private school, you know, you're paying for your kid to go to school, and they're making sure you kind of have control over that.
Yes.
But when you're relying on someone else to pay for your kid to go to schooling, you don't get a say in what they learn. And especially homeschooling, you get all the say. You can make sure that you raise them right and make sure that they know how to respect their teachers. Because if you're homeschooled, you respect your parents, because you know you're going to get a whooping if you don't. And so at the same time, that means when you get to college, you know that you need to respect your teachers.
Oh, yeah, and this is why I like the idea of school choice, especially the education savings accounts. It puts the onus back on the parent. Here's a budget, now use it. And if you still want to go with the traditional public school, okay, and we'll see how it works out. I think it just introduces a lot more competition. Yeah, and to your point, and it's the point I was trying to make to Duke, that if you're a parent paying for your kid to go to a certain place, you have every right, and you'll get their attention pretty quick if you say, if you don't change, I'm pulling my kid out of the school and going somewhere else.
Right.
Well,
I'm sorry, what was that?
No, keep going.
I said I'm homeschooled. I'm 18. I'm graduating this year, and I have 8 siblings. My mom is homeschooled all of us, and my dad helps too some. But it has been phenomenal for us. I mean, it just works so much better, and we haven't had all these major issues that other parents complain about with their public schools or sometimes even private schools.
Well, that's amazing to hear, Brian, and what you say doesn't surprise me, because I've met a lot of folks who are homeschooled, and they sound like you, and I mean that in a very good way. What's your plans for the future?
Next week, or at the end of this year, I'm going into trade school for diesel mechanics.
All right. Smart man. I'd imagine a lot better money than throwing debt at law school.
Correct. Yeah, I actually work at a law firm though. Right now, I'm a runner. But I don't want to be a lawyer. I'm good on that.
Again, you're a wise young man. I appreciate the call, Brian. Call again, man.
All right. Thank you so much.
Let's go to line 1. You're on there. Who's this?
Hey, guys, I was just going to say.
No. You're banned. And you've been taking advantage of the fact that I'm here alone, no call screener. Stop it! Got to hit a quick break. Hopefully we'll have Ray Bowles on the other side.
Want to carry News Talk in your pocket? Download the News Talk 93.1 app from the App Store. Available on iPhone and Android. Never miss a moment. Download now.
My name is Chris Tarantino, and I'm running for Prattville City Council District 5. I'm a 17-year military veteran. My family and I have lived all over the country, and we chose to make Prattville our home. I will work diligently and be transparent to ensure Prattville continues to be the home its residents would choose all over again. You can find more information about me and my vision for Prattville on Facebook or at ChrisTarantino4District5.com.
Paid for by Chris Tarantino, 518 Seasons Court, Prattville, Alabama, 36066.
This hour of News and Views is brought to you by our good friends at Cole Plumbing, 279-8919. Cole Plumbing is number 1 in the number 2 business. You don't have to dig a hole. They have proprietary pipelining technology. Ask them about their tankless water heaters. Remember, when you have trouble with your bowl, call on Cole.
Live local talk. The River Region's only 24-hour News Talk FM station. News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back to News and Views in the afternoon. 272-9228, and we got time, folks. Talk to Ray Bowles from Prattville Carpet. Hey, Ray, how you doing?
We're doing great. Terry's back. What's up, Terry? Hey, guys, how you doing?
I'm doing great, Terry. It's just me today. Eddie decided to do something. I don't know what.
Well, I just got back. I was over in the Western Caribbean for the last 13 days. And I got back yesterday, and I wasn't feeling too good, so I took yesterday off. But if anybody's ever going to go on one of those cruises, it was wonderful. It was wonderful. It was so good because we didn't have internet, we didn't have access to anything, so none of the phones. Ray never whined at me once. I couldn't. I left him all kind of voicemails, and it filled it up. There was all these pigeons coming over, but I shooed them away from the the pigeon post.
And I don't have as big a trip as you. I now have booked a trip. I'm going to Boston And beginning of March after Super Tuesday, visit some friends up there. Never been, so I'm looking forward to that.
I've never been to Boston. I don't think I've been to Boston.
Never been to Boston.
But it was thoroughly enjoyable. If you ever get a chance, don't go in the oasis of the seas, and they'll be able to tell you about that later.
We'll talk about that later. You don't want that boat. Eddie might want that boat, but you don't.
Well,
you'll know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, well, we're running out of time here, gentlemen. Great to hear your voice, Terry. Y'all still selling carpet, floors, those sorts of things?
Every day,
just every day, Monday through Friday, and a Saturday as well. I don't work Saturday, but give us a call, 285-8117. Come up and see us. Ask for Chad, Bart, Ray, Terry, Greta, Ronnie, but don't ask for David, because you don't want him to get any more sales. He monopolizes everything.
Oh, y'all call 285-8117 and be sure to tell them that you heard Ray and Terry on the line. And, gentlemen, great to hear from y'all.
Yeah, have a great day. Bye.
And I'm out of time. Eddie will be back tomorrow, I believe. We'll have Jeff Poor on, also Erica Thomas. And y'all stay tuned because, Greg Budell and Happy Hour, he's next.
Broadcasting from the Riverside Chevrolet Master Control Center, this is WACV Cusana, News Talk 93.1 FM. When it's Chevy, it's Riverside.